So over this weekend, we got news that more documents have been found at the Joe Biden residence. But that's not the big news. The big news is that on a background screening request application, Hunter Biden listed this address as his current residence and that he paid $49,910 per month for this Wilmington, Delaware residence. And look, even if he was renting the whole house to himself, that's like $5,000 per month in Wilmington, Delaware. That's like the high end. For what reason was Hunter Biden paying 10 times the average rent to live in his dad's house? I don't know. Maybe this was how he got the 10% for the big guy sent his way. How do you clean money? If Joe Biden's setting up the business, Hunter Biden's doing it, how does the money then go from Hunter to Joe and get cleaned up? Just pay rent. And when Joe Biden files his taxes, he doesn't itemize which apartment generated which income. He just says rental income X and then puts some ridiculous number. So it could be that. We'll talk about that and a whole bunch more surrounding Joe and Hunter Biden. Plus, we've got the World Economic Forum predicting a global recession. And then, of course, Wyoming is going to ban electric cars to shore up the fossil fuel industry. Man, what an interesting week. My voice is also still kind of crummy, but bear with us as we're coming back into the swing of things. Thanks for hanging out. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com, become a member to support our work directly. Click that Join Us button, and you'll get access to exclusive, uncensored segments from this show, Monday through Thursday at 11 p.m. And I will also add, you will be aiding in our cultural endeavors. The haters told me I wasn't allowed to skate in the local spots. They actually tell me that. They told other people that. And so we did an event. We showed up. It was great. A bunch of locals were there skating, had a great time. People were giving me fist bumps. They want to make you think they control these spaces. They do not. Simply by showing up and doing our thing, we won. For all the people who are scared to speak out, I'm telling you, don't be afraid. These people do not have the power you think they do. So thank you all for the support. Smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. Joining us tonight to talk about this and so much more is Osiris of Middle Maga.
Let's go. Let's get it. I'm Osiris, and I have a website and a YouTube channel called Middle Maga, and I'm all over the map politically. I like libertarians, I like MAGA, I like the populist left. Tim's had Kim Iverson on, Jen Perlman, really like them. So I started out after the pandemic, and I saw the craziness, like you're talking about Biden and people trying to, go after you for skating in the park. And I'm like, I got to get a mic, grabbed a Canon M50, went in my basement and just started recording, and I'm here.
Right on, man. Thanks for joining us. Should be fun.
Thank you.
All right, we got Luke.
Hey, guys. Lots of crazy news today, as today we also celebrate the day that the government assassinated someone and then made a holiday for that particular someone, paid for it by, of course, your tax dollars. That's why today I'm wearing my Make Taxation Theft Again shirt. And if you agree with that, you could get the shirt on thebestpoliticalshirts.com and, of course, support my efforts here. Thank you again so much for having me. Ian?
Hi, everyone. Ian Croft, doing really well. Thanks for asking, Luke.
How's your New Year, what was that thing, resolution?
Yeah.
How's that going?
I'm building muscle. So far, so good.
Okay.
I've had positive feedback.
I saw him carrying on a garbage bag full of chimichangas.
Yeah, I'll just keep pushing. I mean,
He's cultivating mass.
That's my mind. When I get started on something, I get obsessive about it for the most part, which is why I don't do a lot of things. But when I do them well.
He sleeps very well.
Yes, I rest is a big part of it. Hi, everyone.
A lot of rest.
It's all of it.
It's rock and roll, baby.
Hey, and I am Serge.com. As always, guys, let's just start rolling.
All right, let's jump into this first story. We have this tweet from Miranda Devine. She says, in 2018, Hunter Biden claimed he owned the house where Joe Biden kept classified documents alongside his Corvette in the garage. Take a look at this. On this silly little document, you can see, I can't even scroll down. I got to do it this way. Here we go. You scroll down, and you can see right here, monthly rent, $49,910. He lived there, move-in date, March 2017 to February 2018. So 11 months, he's paying his dad $50,000. And you can see current address is the Wilmington address. What's Hunter doing spending 10 times the high end for rent to live in this house? I mean, look, you want to talk about the documents that should not have been in those properties. You want to talk about who else had access to those documents at his UPenn office as well as his house. And it all sounds very dirty. And then from that, we're now kind of discovering that Hunter Biden. I think this is evidence of funneling money surreptitiously to his dad. Now, I want to say proof, but it is possible he fabricated that number. And he's trying to make it seem like he spends a lot of money. I don't know why you would do that. So I think this is very, very strong evidence that that's what he was doing. He was funneling money to his dad.
Well, it is a lot of money, and it doesn't really make sense in that particular neighborhood. But Hunter Biden is a big spender. He spends tens of thousands of dollars on sex workers and on a lot of drugs. There's also a text message that the New York Post is reporting on, specifically detailing how Hunter Biden allegedly was covering a lot of his family expenses and giving as much as 50% of his earnings to his father. This is according to some of the text messages through the laptop that were leaked. One specific text message reads, quote, "I hope you all can do what I did and pay for everything for this entire family for 30 years. Hunter raged to his daughter Naomi in January 2019. It's really hard, but don't worry. Unlike Pop, I won't make you give me half your salary." That's Hunter Biden texting his daughter. That's pretty telling there.
Yeah,
Don't you say?
Yeah, what we see here is evidence of washing money. Like you said, I'm not going to say proof, but this looks like they're doing the laundry. And I think this is real. There's two things. MAGA came in the House. You just had Matt Gaetz on Friday. MAGA's really going to do the church-like commission, and that's going to put pressure on Biden. That's why we're starting to see some of these things come out, in my opinion. And they have to look impartial. So now they can say we're going after Trump and Biden. And then on top of that, I don't think Democrats want Biden in 2024. Are you serious?
Yeah.
So it solves two problems for them, I think. And Joe Scarborough's on TV along with Mika going after Biden because he's handled this sloppily. They had the message like, we don't think there's any more documents out there. Then how many did we see? 3 or 4 now? Yeah, the number one thing with crisis management is you nip it in the bud. You say, here's everything, and then you don't have to talk about it anymore. So something's wrong. I think he's in danger.
You brought up a very good point because, the corporate media usually regurgitates any slop he throws on the floor, and they love it. They suck it right up. They spit it right at you, looking at you, smiling as their propaganda and their bullcrap. They got him elected. If it wasn't for the corporate media, Joe Biden hiding in his basement would not be president of the United States right now. Also social media, also the intelligence agencies, also a lot of black money. But that's a separate topic here. So I do think there's something behind the scenes happening right now. It could be him saying, hey, I'm going to be running in 2024. I want to be the next president of the United States. And some powerful people saying, no, you're not. You're going to play ball and you're going to give this to Buttigieg or Kamala or Oprah or Michelle, whoever it may be. But I think there's a larger power struggle, and it might not even be around the election. It could be something related to the collapse of the economy. The globalists or internationalists, the shadowy elites could be like, we're going to crash this economy under your watch. He's like, nope, don't do it. Who knows what's going on here, but this smells a foot here because this doesn't really add up to what usually happens in Washington, D.C.
I think it's weird because Joe Biden is the establishment. They don't need to do this to get rid of him. They could just be like, all right, hey, buddy, we're not going to have you run in 2024. And I'll go, okay. Unless they want to get rid of him early. Then they're like, okay, here's how we're going to get you out early. We're going to find documents. You're going to apologize. It's going to be no big deal. And then you're going to resign.
What if
maybe?
What if Jill doesn't like Kamala? That's allegedly out there in the wind. And if he steps down, it would have to be Kamala, at least at first. Do you think it's possible that I don't think they tell them directly. These are all signs that, Joe, your time's up. I don't think there's any secret meeting where they come in and say, Joe, don't run. But what if Kamala's next in line and they're like, we don't want Kamala. We want Buttigieg or Hakeem Jeffries or whoever else.
At this point, it's McCarthy.
McCarthy.
If Joe and Kamala are out, the next in line for the presidency is the speaker.
Well, I mean, if Joe...
For 2024, we're
2024,
talking about.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they need to do this to stop Joe from running in 2024. Yeah. They just need to not give him the IV drugs they've been giving him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just let him fall asleep.
Yeah. Man,
don't run him.
Well, there's only so many replicas of him that they have. Okay, so they might be running out.
And they're getting worse. They're like degrading in quality.
Joe Biden, number 5, is not doing too well. Okay, sorry, Ian, you had a point.
Just $50,000 a month in rent is complete. It's not normal. That can't. I don't know if I could say that can't be real. Is it possible that an apartment building is 10? Yeah, it doesn't seem real.
50,000.
Tons of people have gone through the rentals in the area, and the highest is 6,000, and the average is like 3. the IRS would, in any other circumstance, would look at this and be like, "Oh yeah, it's illegal."
Yeah, I would think so.
Like,
Or he's lying.
I'll put it this way:
that's also illegal.
What? So if, like, Ian, let's say I want to give you $1 million, you've got to pay a gift tax on it. There's a bunch of things you can do, but there's like $15,000 is the yearly tax limit. If I pay you $1 million, you got to pay income tax on it. And so you get people who are like, how can I get the money to someone in a certain way, right? Okay, how about I buy a painting for $1 million, sit on it for a little while, then claim it's only worth $1, sell it to you for $1. You can then say, oh, it appreciated to $1 million, and now you have $1 million asset. You still have to pay taxes on it. I think what this is evidence. So anyway, my point with that is the IRS tracks for these things because you can't just give the money to someone. Now, rental income is still going to have, it's going to be taxed. So what I think this is evidence of is not necessarily that Hunter is trying to secretly give money, as a gift. I think what he's trying to do is clean the money. The money's dirty. So he's giving his dad $50,000 a month in rent so that Joe can claim on his taxes rental income and then pay the taxes on it, and now it's clean.
Yeah, at its face, that's what it looks like. If Hunter's taking money, dark money.
Now, isn't this very blatant? I mean, this is out in the open. So why would he think he wouldn't get caught here?
Because
he's Hunter Biden. Because he already got away with so many things. Mm-hmm. Today, he's also in court demanding that his 4-year-old daughter, who he had with a stripper, not take his last name. So that's what he's up to today. That doesn't really say, the best things about him. These kind of
actions don't scream good father.
Yes.
They're trying to erase the Biden name from. Is this
a
female bastard as well?
4-year-old daughter.
He's claiming that it's a curse, and that
the Biden name.
Yeah, he's like she wouldn't live a normal life.
Yeah, he's trying to claim he's protecting her from the abuse that she might get for the Biden name.
Which
it's
he must have been madly abused. I mean, if he thinks that his kid's going to be abused, I would have a feeling that maybe he was too.
He's playing games with it. He just doesn't want her to get the Biden name. So he's saying, I'm trying to help you. Don't take the name. But the name actually would help her.
Hunter is going to blow the lid on this stuff in like a decade, in the next decade.
He already did.
When Joe Biden passes away, the way Hunter's going to be coming clean on all this crap.
Now, did you see they are so cold-hearted, they hung up stockings for Christmas and didn't include that granddaughter. No,
Yeah.
They included the dog, the cat, everybody. Now, I think her name was Navy. I forgot her name. Her name.
But that's cold.
Yeah, that's the
That's
word.
messed up.
Is the word still bastard if it's a girl?
That's a good
I
question.
don't think so. I think it's just a boy, but let me double check.
A bastet?
Best that.
And then on top of that, I forget which news outlet it was. They wrote a headline saying that Joe Biden has 6 grandkids. He really has 7. So the media, so whatever Biden does in his personal life, that's his decision, as bad as it looks. But why would the media not report accurate numbers?
Yeah, and the statistics with fatherless homes are absolutely shocking. When you really start to look at what happens to a family when the father is not there, it is absolutely horrendous. It is absolutely horrible. The possibilities of arrest, of jail, of murder, of assault, of crime skyrocket up dramatically. Now, when you have, a father who's in politics, who's been in politics for so long, in Washington, D.C. for so long, being the career politician that he is, that usually means he has to neglect being there at home. Or if he was at home, he was maybe trying to get into some showers that some kids were into. But that's a separate story. I don't want to even get into great detail here. But I think it's fair to say that Joe Biden hasn't been the best father, as of course Hunter Biden isn't really showing the best kind of father figures. He isn't really the best role model here in this particular example.
As far as I can tell, bastards can be women, boys or girls, any child born out of wedlock. Bastard also historically called whoreson. That's whoreson. The full word whoreson. Wow. Isn't that incredible?
Whoreson.
That's vicious. That's a vicious label. I don't want that label. That's a vicious one.
Whoreson.
They were like, no, bastard is better. Okay.
So they don't. How about snow? That's
from Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that way it sounds cool.
Yeah. Snow's cool.
Yeah. What you should get?
Set him in
What
the
if the
wall.
judge was like, you can't be a Biden, but you can be a Snow? You get a name from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What a sad family, man.
It's like a royal family kind of. They act kind of like that with that drama and money.
You know what I was thinking earlier? Imagine aliens came to our planet and landed in America, and they said, "Take me to your leader." What would they think?
They blow us up.
Yeah, they just be like, this isn't worth it. Like, just gone. There's a story that just came out.
Maybe that's why they're not visiting. I mean, I mean, these are ants.
They show up.
Like it's us looking at ants. Yeah. Like, who's calling the shots here? This guy? No.
No, I don't know. I think if they did show up, they would treat us the way we treat like animals. We'd sit back and watch, and then it's funny because you ever watch Meerkat Manor?
No, I haven't seen.
It's like all the meerkats. They go to war with the meerkats have war in tribes and stuff. And, they talk about the leader and they give him silly names. That's what the aliens are probably doing. They're like, the Biden family is ridiculed by many. Well, I don't know if the aliens have British accents or anything like that.
I forgot who I was watching over the weekend, but it was a YouTube video that made the argument that if we do get visited by aliens, that alien would be artificial intelligence. Because if you want to have that kind of long travel, if you want to, of course, send something, why not just send an AI robot?
Yeah.
So
I think that's what Elon wants to do with the Tesla bot. Everything Elon Musk does is to get to Mars, and I think he knows that it's very difficult to get out of there with the radiation, all that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's talk about this from the BBC. White House says there are no visitor logs for Biden's home. Okay. So not only did he have classified documents stored there, more than we originally thought, Hunter Biden lived there, was funneling money to his dad, and we don't know who showed up. If Hunter was living there, if he actually was, you know why there's no visitor log? Because the list of hookers would be too long. They just be like, it's a Rolex.
we got Destiny, LaQuisha, Pink Panther. What else is a good stripper name? Ian, do you know some?
Well, Candy, don't leave.
Candy,
She was big in the 80s.
Candy, yeah.
Agnes.
Yeah.
She's an old one.
Agnes.
And how many of them are like Fang Fang, like not Russian or Chinese spies? I guarantee you some of them are probably spies, too.
Joe walks in and Hunter's got like 2 Russian women on his arms and he's sunglasses and he's smoking a joint. And he's like, who are these? And he's
Trixie,
like,
Scarlet.
Yeah, Trixie's like, I don't know. Spies, I guess. Just let them in. How did they get past security? What security? There's no logs, there's no security. They're sitting there like reading the classified documents.
I hope Hunter knows.
Champagne, you could read? Synonym?
As much as
what
Hunter
are you doing?
complains
Those
about Joe.
Those are not tissues.
Did you say synonym?
Synonym. That's a stripper name. Right?
I want Hunter, keep it in mind, man, no matter
Meg, cardamom, and rosemary.
how angry you are at Joe. Like, I get Hunter, you're probably pissed off at Joe because the way he treated you throughout your life, but you never would have had a chance to live like this without him. Like, you would have had some cheap job that you hated, barely stringing by. You wouldn't have enough money to pull you out of the gutter when you fell. So, like, be thankful to your dad for at least that.
No way, dude. I think Joe diddled Hunter.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
What? Don't say thank him.
Yeah, but don't just put it
awful.
all on Joe, Hunter. You've been sucking off the tit your whole life, man. It's your responsibility. Take care of yourself.
I think Hunter's a bad dude, but I think he got abused by Joe Biden. Like, you see the Ashley Biden stuff.
Oh, yeah.
You watch Joe Biden grope children and sniff them. What do you think he was doing to Hunter Biden back at home?
True.
After he lost his daughter and his wife, like, what happened to him?
I wouldn't be surprised if he took it all out on Hunter.
And is it true that he and Jill had an affair on her husband with Joe?
That's a rumor. I can't confirm that. But Bo was always, rest in peace to Bo Biden, he was always the star. He was the one that was supposed to be president now, not Joe. And then the problem was Bo Biden was the good one. He was the good son. Hunter was always the dark horse, the black sheep. So that will mess with you mentally too, on top of, I don't know what other stuff was going on.
What happened to the good one?
Bo Biden?
Yeah, cancer, right?
Yeah, he died. What's it, cancer from, I forgot how he got it.
I think they attribute it to his time in Iraq.
Yeah, I think Joe did. I'm not sure if that is exactly why, but Joe did. He thinks that could have played.
But then Joe claimed that he died in Iraq. I think.
No, yep, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
He's just gone.
He's not. I mean, Joe lies about everything.
Yeah.
Remember when he in the 80s, he plagiarized that entire Irish dude's life?
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I remember when he was saying that he was like the top of his class or something like that. Like, he left school.
I worked in the coal mines.
Yeah. He said so much stuff.
Family worked in the
Bo
coal
Biden
mines.
died in 2015 from brain cancer at the age of 46. Wow. And they thought it was from like extensive exposure to burn pits and stuff like that.
Yeah, is that what it was?
It doesn't hear.
We don't know
really
for sure on that one. Yeah, there's a book that came out saying it could have been that. Nobody knows for sure. But Bo Biden was a star politician. I mean, he was next in line. He was very good.
Military vet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now all they got is Hunter?
Yeah.
That's got to be brutal.
Hunter
That
2024.
That sounded so sad. Too.
I mean, if there's ever going to be a redemption arc, it has to be with Hunter, right? I would vote for, if Hunter was running for president of the United States, I would vote for him immediately.
No,
he has the
no,
experience.
no way.
Who do you want running the country? Someone who has never lived a life of excitement, of just experience, or someone who's been sheltered in his entire life?
I would watch a Hunter Biden YouTube channel and I would
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Oh, that would be dope.
But I would not vote for a Biden, any of them.
Yeah.
No.
I think he would be able to deal with serious problems that Americans are dealing with because he dealt with them himself.
Yo,
right?
if he got the job, he'd keep funneling money to his dad. That'd be the whole bit.
Yeah.
well, that's
not
what they're doing
interesting.
already. Like,
I know.
that wouldn't change anything.
But Luke, I'm disappointed in you. What about Fetterman?
I know that's a good one too.
Fetterman,
Hunter Biden, Fetterman,
Yeah.
2024. I like that. I love it. Might as well make it all burn down as quickly as possible.
Make the shirt Fetterman Biden 2020 Hunter Biden John Fetterman 2024. Just make it all burn down faster.
Why? I look at Hunter Biden's Wikipedia page, and the picture they use for him make him look like Steve Carell in his awkward office moments, like Michael Scott, super awkward, big eyes, and then maybe that's just how he looks. Hunter, it's all blurry. The picture's blurry. Like they couldn't just get a normal picture
Yeah.
of him looking, charismatic.
I asked the audience, does this prove Hunter laundered money to Joe? 89% say yes. So the challenge with evidence and proof, right? Proof would be like catching him holding, like handing the money out. I actually think this is as closest to proof as you're going to get. Like him stating definitively on a background check application that he did give this money to his dad. I suppose what would be better is a bank log showing the transfer so we know what actually happened.
Yeah.
But him stating he did it is as close to a confession as you're going to get.
Yeah, I would say it's evidence, not proof. I said no on that poll because it could be doctored paper. It could be doctored. There's no official stamp on it. And it could be a lie.
yeah,
it could
but
be
hold on,
lying
hold
about
on,
the
hold on.
amount.
Fair point, but any evidence could be doctored. Any and all of it could be doctored. Like you go to you're in trial because a guy got murdered. Like here's the murder weapon. It's like maybe they've fabricated.
So I would look for preponderance of evidence to decide proof. If there's enough evidence that I could say that's probably not doctored or
How about this? Hunter Biden said he was paying the family expenses. Hunter Biden says his dad was taking half his salary. In the emails, he said 10% for the big guy. And then he's giving 10 times the high-end rent for a rental property that Joe Biden owns.
This rent
come
thing
on,
should
at
be
this
looked
point.
into. This is crazy.
Yeah, we're really close to proof. And what I do on my channel a lot is bring to the bigger picture. You're talking about there are no logs at his private residence. So that means I think he spent 200 days there. He could bring anybody over there and talk about whatever they're talking about. Looking at the big picture, don't we have enough to just really, as a country, all agree we need to look into it? Like, why would we have a partisan type of battle over this? Wouldn't you think anybody on any political spectrum would say, this doesn't look right?
Well, part of what I've been thinking is the great age of pardons that we're upon is like, okay, the liberal economic order is turning into the new world order. We need to oversee this change. And why do we hate ourselves for being the pilots of the Death Star for the last 70 years? Like we were basically trying to militaristically control Earth as the United States. Like people did horrible, horrible things. Henry Kissinger, Joe Biden, you name it, Donald Trump, all these people with all these secrets. And it's like, dude, we got to make the new world order now. We need to make a Republican-style decentralized statehood across Earth, or the Chinese and the World Economic Forum are going to do it for us, and they're going to make a corporate communist state. So I want to forgive people. That's where I'm at right now. I don't even want to go after Trump and Biden for the stupid stuff. Like, we have a bigger deal.
Okay, well,
on our hands.
I just want to say there's like the very big difference between Trump, Biden, and Klaus Schwab and all of these people. Like when these people were murdering children, Trump was firing people on TV. Like the worst thing Trump was doing was selling Pepsi or whatever, or being in Home Alone movies. Like,
I guess
building hotels.
The argument is like the worst of the worst American military psychos that have been controlling this liberal economic order. I don't feel like witch hunting, because we're going to end up pulling back the curtain, realizing we've all been involved in it. We've all been benefiting from it. Like,
it's true that we've been greatly benefiting from the U.S. empire, the petrodollar, and all that stuff. And I'm not a fan of this idea that the U.S. is the world police. I kind of like the idea that we mind our own business. But since 1913, that's not been the case, and we're the Death Star. You know.
Yeah.
Do we shut it all down? What do we do?
Well, they're building a new Death Star.
The new world order
in Davos, Switzerland.
The new world order you fear is already here, and they're working with the Chinese. And these internationalists don't give a damn about the United States. They use it as a vehicle. They use it as a vessel, just like they use China. Just like they're testing all the latest Big Brother surveillance technology. They're going with their plan of what works out best for them. They have no allegiance to the United States. They're not American. They're internationalists. So you got to understand it from that perspective. And when they talk about a new world order, they're talking about continuing pretty much the way that the things are, but for a better benefit for them.
Well, we would need like a populist, upright new world order, like a popular world order that people actually want, not let corporations top down decide it. What are you going to say?
Yeah, but that's MAGA. That's how I view MAGA, what you just said. I wouldn't say the new world order just because it rubs people the wrong way, but yeah, it's a populist movement. You saw the holdup of the speaker vote. We haven't seen anything like that in 100 years.
International nationalism is what people were jokingly referring to it as. Like the idea that there was a movement of individuals to strengthen their own countries and their own borders and respect between different countries to allow each to do so. So the media tried mocking the idea, but it was actually quite simple. It meant that someone from the UK was like, hey, this is where I live. We want to have these rules. That's totally cool that you live over there and want to have those rules. And then we'll figure out how to work together. And everyone's like, yeah, that sounds like a really great idea. So it's an international movement to restore and strengthen national boundaries.
Yeah, I think libertarians have the answer. You hear Comic Dave Smith on this show and how based he is. Decentralization, like you just mentioned, yeah, that's the answer to me.
Yeah, they have the United States of Mexico is already primed. We've got the United States of America. We've got Canada's basically a bunch of provinces, states. China's a bunch of states. Like we're really, as long as the people want it, we're prepped to create a decentralized statehood across the planet.
Maybe it's just going to, in order to get these other countries to recognize the superior way in which our government works,
we need to bomb the crap out of them.
Maybe the first thing we need to do
and take their oil
is just, go there and then just make them implement this, and then after we make them do it, they'll understand why it's so good. Now, they may resist, but it's okay. We have bigger guns than they do.
Well, I think really the key
that worked really well in Afghanistan.
That's right.
Yeah. The key would be to teach them English and get people to use English as a primary language. If we all have one language, I think that the best ideas win.
No, that's a good idea. It's a good idea. No. But the other issue is that they might still try to speak their own language and adhere to their own cultural tradition. So you beat them.
No. But this is why Hollywood was so great for the American culture in the last 100 years, is because it spread English across the planet, and English became the language of business. And when you understand what American freedom-loving people are saying, it's a lot easier to get on board.
Ian. The solution to a lot of the world's problems is individuals not trying to force their will onto others. And as long as people realize that and respect other people and respect their property and their individual sovereignty, then and only then the world will be a better place. But when we have the Karens, when we have the Kyle saying, you need to do this, you need to follow this religion or this edict or this woke doctrine, and you have to do it or I will get and use extortion and force with centralized police forces in order to push my ideology onto you. That right there is the larger problem of our society and why it is where it is right now. And it takes personal responsibility, individuals being strong and independent and saying, hey, I respect you as an individual, respect me, standing up for themselves, being strong, being able to defend themselves, that truly will lead us out of this nightmare, the globalist New World Order nightmare that we all are a part of.
With that mindset, if someone were to instantiate like a revolution to statehood, like Republican statehood or something, would you, the libertarian mindset's kind of like, let them do it. I'm not involved, but like, usually you can't revolt against your system without outside help. So like, at what point would you suggest
other countries always get involved, and of course, just like the United States got involved in Ukraine, it's a larger proxy war. But again, conflict is usually routine with that kind of larger idea. This is why I'm saying what you're describing is one of the problems I'm describing. People trying to force something on someone else. Once we get rid of that force, once we get rid of that extortion, just that belief system of respecting others, there wouldn't be those kind of confrontations. There wouldn't be those types of situations. What I'm talking about is kind of utopian, but more of just like a place where I think we should be going to as humanity, where we could progress to a point where we could respect each other's differences without trying to bomb or kill each other.
The current ethos, or the current philosophy, I suppose, is whoever holds the biggest stick. Because if you don't hold it, someone else will. And so the United States is basically like, look, our system is better. we got all of these civil rights we've expanded throughout the years. We've done a great job of things. Let's just hold the biggest stick and beat anybody who disagrees. That way we don't got to worry about them beating a big stick against us. And that's why the Cold War was so crucial for these people. That's why the draft, Vietnam, and all these countries, that's why they used false flags. All that mattered was we were bigger and more powerful, so we don't got to worry about it. They genuinely believe that by being the Death Star, being the Empire, you prevent war and suffering. So it's almost like their attitude is, there's got to be some. There's got to be some suffering, some war. And then, we'll make sure there's not too much of it.
Mm-hmm. That was the limited war doctrine,
exactly.
Kissinger's doctrine. So we would, if instead of bombing Moscow, if Russia was going to war in northern Vietnam, we just fight proxy war in Vietnam. Basically what's going on in Ukraine. You don't just bomb Moscow because you're angry that they invaded Ukraine. Then Moscow doesn't bomb Washington, D.C.
Or
so
Syria.
We avoid total war.
Or Libya. Or Vietnam.
Yeah, it was a mess. The liberal war machine went so haywire when they invaded Iraq and Afghanistan. I think that was when you realized
the first time or the second time?
The second time was when it was like, you have gone too far. You lose the big stick. You failed. Whoever's in control of this system has failed you.
But I think that was the first time. So they had to try again. They had failed.
Just ethically, as a geopolitical police, invading the Middle East like that is an epic failure. Like that was, I don't know if they didn't realize that technology was just so great. You can fly bomber planes around Earth. There's no,
Yeah.
Have you guys seen the solar planes that can fly forever?
Yeah.
Yep.
Now imagine they put bombs in those things and they just have them fly around forever. And then it's just like, don't step out of,
They
don't
probably
step out of
already
line.
have that.
Yep. Or the scary thought was you ever hear of rods from God? You know about this one?
Oh yeah.
It's satellites carrying giant tungsten rods. They just drop it and it slams into the earth. I guess the argument is it takes too much energy to put the rod in space in the first place and then maintain its orbit. But being able to drop.
So it just stays up there until they're ready to drop it?
Yeah, then it releases it. If you watch the G.I. Joe movie, that's what they do.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, Cobra Commander. He's like, yeah, and he presses the button and then he blows up London.
Just with a single tungsten rod.
Yeah, gigantic. It slams and the whole London just ripples into the air. Let me pull up this next story. We got this tweet from Dale Turner. He says, the elite flocked to Davos this week on their private jets to lecture us average folk on why we must give up our gas-powered cars by an imaginary deadline in order to save the planet. And in the meantime, Wyoming lawmakers propose ban on electric vehicle sales. Well, that's something new, I guess. What is it? What? Wyoming wants to ban electric cars. A group of GOP Wyoming state lawmakers want to end electric vehicle sales by 2035, saying the move will help safeguard the oil and gas industries. So I'm sure most of y'all have heard California, Oregon, and Washington are moving to ban gas cars. I think California already did. Goes into effect 2035. Now Wyoming is doing the opposite. Could you imagine? You're in Oregon and you're like, I'm gonna drive east. And then you get into Wyoming and you're in your electric car because you don't have any gas cars and there's no electric charging stations. And you're just like, well, what do I do? Or you're in Wyoming and you're like, I'm going to go visit the coast. You drive through, you take your gas car, you drive in Oregon, no gas stations.
Yeah, this is when you're an authoritarian, like what California is doing is an authoritarian act. It's government getting in the way of a private market, demanding that you transition to a certain thing by a certain time. What happens is the other side can play the same game. I'm against it. Libertarians have the right idea. Let the free market go. But
Wait, Tim. We have freedom of movement in the future? Wait, that's not supposed to happen. People have their own cars? That's not supposed to happen. We're supposed to rent cars and share them and borrow them, just like all the companies that have World Economic Forum board members that are heavily invested in them. We're not supposed to be using cars and having private property. That's not a part of the UN 2030 vision and not a part of the vision that Klaus Schwab was talking about years ago when he was talking about pretty much making sure that people cannot and will not be owning cars. A lot of major cities are also making it very difficult to drive cars. New York City is one of them. They set up surveillance cameras everywhere. There's nearly 15,000 surveillance cameras all throughout New York City. Speed cameras everywhere. You go over 25 miles an hour, you get a ticket right away, billed to you. There's a lot of people obfuscating their license plate in New York City because obviously, people make mistakes. It happens. 25 is not a very high speed. It's a very low speed. People make a lot of mistakes. People are being indebted. There's no parking spots. Every street is being closed down, so you can't even drive down there, drive down most streets. So we are seeing this 2030 UN Klaus Schwab World Economic Forum vision be implemented very slowly, but it's already happening in New York City. It's already going to be happening in California, where they're banning not just gas cars, diesel cars, lawnmowers, even golf carts are now being banned in California, which again is just absolutely insane and crazy, and going towards the vision of what Klaus Schwab wants for you and not for what anyone else really wants.
Well, look, I can sympathize with Klaus Schwab, because I'm just imagine you're sitting there, you're in your yacht hanging out with all your rich buddies, and then you look off in the distance and there's some middle class dude and he's drinking a soda, and you're like, what makes him think he's entitled to the same drinks that I am? And you just desperately want to take from him everything he owns and then just put him into indentured servitude. I can totally understand why they're mad, right?
Or just totally wipe them off the planet because there's too many people in this world. That's also another thing that they're also openly calling for.
Right.
But making them super poor is a way of helping make that process go a lot faster. So these people are not just eugenicists; they're also utter freaking hypocrites. There's an estimated 1,100 private jets at Davos this year. They quadrupled their private jet emissions last year than the previous year before that. So these are individuals who obviously live by a different set of rules, don't care about the environment, don't give a damn about it. This is just their PR words that they're using to, of course, justify their larger takeover of society, which is exactly the hostile takeover that we're going through right now.
All right, then he's not on the boat watching the guy drink a Coke. He's looking out his window and seeing human beings in general. Is that he's just mad they're there?
Or he's just flying on the private jet, being like, "There's too much open land here. We need to."
Seamus and I came up with a bit a while ago about Bill Gates that we never got around to making because we could put it on YouTube. It was basically a gag about how like Bill Gates is his day, and it's like he's driving down the street and he pulls into a McDonald's. And then he's like, I'll have the Big Mac with a large fry and don't forget the ketchup. And then when he pulls to the drive-thru, they hand him the bag and he looks and he goes, there's no ketchup. And so it's like a series of things throughout the day where he gets minor inconveniences. But like once he's really angry, the woman knocks on the window and she's like, oh, forgot your ketchup, and gives him more. And then he has an app on his phone. We can't talk about it on YouTube, but it activates a certain thing in people that wipes out humanity. Oh. And so he's like sitting there staring at his phone, like ready to press the button. And then she's like, wait, don't forget the ketchup. And then he's like, oh, thank you. And then he keeps doing it. Just like the general idea is that these people's real anger is not centered in anything logical. It's centered in just like their emotions related to other people. Like they just don't like other people. So they make up reasons to justify why there should be less people.
And then common people cheer them on. I said I kind of made my own definition of woke because I actually think this is a part of wokeism. And I said woke is the act of allowing an authority outside of God to define your morality. And what the way they're able to get people to cheer this nonsense on is the climate gods or they're woke or whatever, the climate, whatever you want to make it. And you're cheering on your own demise. That's how powerful I think this religion is.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like when Disney did the Lemmings documentary. You know the story of that?
No.
So they made this documentary and the lemmings all walk off the cliff, and then everyone believes lemmings commit ritualistic suicide. They don't. Apparently, what they were doing was they had like push brooms and stuff, and they were like shoving the animals off the cliff and beating them, and so they were fleeing to their death. And then they were like, "Now film it and claim it happened." That's what it feels like a lot with this World Economic Forum stuff. They're destroying your life, taking away everything from you, locking things down. Then when you're miserable, they say, are you miserable? It's because of climate change.
Yeah.
I mean, all these people are having heart attacks because of climate change.
Yeah.
You know?
Suddenly.
Dying suddenly from climate change, you know? And so, you got to do something about it.
Yeah, I think it's for, talking about it for common people, I think don't be alarmed. I think we will make it through this. It might not be the same future you look at a generation from now, 20 years from now. We might all have Neuralinks 1 or 2 generations from now. Life's going to be fine. People are still going to have friends. You might be controlled by a central being or a government, but I think humans are survivors and life will be different. But in the end, it will look dystopian to us. Could you imagine somebody from like the 18th century looking at what we're doing right now? they would be blown out of their minds. And I think it'll be the same type of thing generations from now.
I think if you took someone from like 1850 in any capacity and transported them here, the first thing they would do was go on a violent rampage, thinking that it was all Satanists and demons and stuff.
And that's where we are now, kind of, right? We're looking at this stuff. I said it's an anti-God movement. I'm still against it. I'm going to speak out against it. Don't get me wrong, but I think we're kind of in that same place.
I think the future is going to be AI.
Oh, yeah.
I like people will eventually cease to exist in some capacity. And we're already integrating ourselves into the network with Twitter and with these apps and everything. And Elon buys Twitter, surprise, surprise. It's a massive neural net. He also is running Neuralink. You combine these two things. I mean, I think Elon bought Twitter because he wants to build a neural net. He wants to connect people's brains to it. And Twitter is already the base component of people injecting their thoughts into a machine. Next, you just need to hook it to people's brains. It's there.
Yeah.
One of the clips that I also just saw recently was Elon Musk a couple years ago saying, "Hey, we need to have a serious conversation about the development of artificial intelligence here. We need to seriously have some real regulations here. We need to stop doing what we're doing." And he's like, "No one's listening, and this is just continuing." So there's going to be a lot of implications because of this, and a lot of the most powerful, most sinister people are at the head of these larger technological advancements. There's a reason Klaus Schwab is calling for the fourth industrial revolution, and when he's calling for that, he's calling for, of course, using technology for his own personal benefit, screwing everyone else over. And with the advancements, I mean, we're seeing the possibility of human beings living forever, and for a certain group of people to live forever, there's going to be a lot of other people that are not going to be living forever or won't be living at all. And we have to understand that there's this larger trade-off that is being talked about very seriously right now at the World Economic Forum.
To be fair, though, I mean, think about it. If they invented the immortality pill right now, and maybe they already did, could they just give it to every single person?
Well, they're going to say,
what would they? How would you guys deal with that right now? Let's say some alien came to you and said, "Here's a bottle of pills, easily replicable, and it will make anyone who ingests the pill one time biologically immortal. Like you can still be hit by a car, but you won't age to death." Would you just be like, "Okay, everyone can have it"?
I would spread it, yeah. Yeah, I want everyone to have it. I mean, what you would see is centralized power obviously trying to control it and not let everybody have it, I think.
But like all the woke people getting it and all the zombies and everything?
I'm very much, I'm against the wokeism, but I will support your right to be woke.
Yeah.
So,
but I think the challenge is there are some people who believe in hard work, personal responsibility, individual liberty, freedom, etc. And there are some people who think they're entitled to everything and should take from you even by force. And so it's like, if I'm faced with being like, should I give the immortality pill to the hardworking, freedom-loving individualist or the woke authoritarian psychopaths with guns? I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just be like, man, that's a tough call, isn't it? Because look, we're not talking about killing anybody.
No.
We're talking about granting them, extended or eternal life. Or I should say extended.
The question would be, would you give purified clean water to all those people? The people you hate as well, people you disagree with, your enemies. Would you, if you had the opportunity to give everyone access to clean water, you wouldn't?
Yeah, I don't think it's that simple. I think if we're looking at, say, like China right now and what they're doing to the Uyghurs in those camps, and I'm supposed to be okay with being like, I'm going to overlook all that evil stuff you're doing, just give you some really nice things to help you. No, I think the opposite is true. I think maybe at the very least you can be like, look, if I've got something you want, you got to stop torturing and raping those women. You agree to that, maybe we'll talk. But I'm not just going to give you whatever. You know what I mean?
I think some tech is it belongs to all of us if we can make that happen.
Yeah, but an individual like Jared Kushner, who again very powerful and is already making statements about possibly living forever. You think he's going to be sharing that with the Yemenis that he, of course, brokered a deal with the Saudi Arabians that he's bombing? Do you think he's going to be doing any of that? I don't think so.
That's a tough question, man.
It is a very tough question because it's also an ethical question. It's also a question about our existence here, and it kind of changes it. And it changes also our relationship with God as well. So there's a lot of deeper philosophical implications here that I think are worth debating and talking about on a longer, bigger perspective. That's why I don't have an answer for it.
Well, let me ask the audience.
But my first knee-jerk reaction is no. Absolutely not.
You wouldn't share with everybody?
I wouldn't want it to exist. But the problem is it is
like a gun.
And will the powerful people use it to, of course, control humanity? But again, that also makes you less human, though. You take away people's humanity at the same time, so you're also a part of their problem. So there's a larger conundrum here that...
maybe that's the gun thing is probably the better analogy, I suppose. People have a right to live. Maybe if... You don't have to give it to them, like we don't just go around handing people guns.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
But access to it should be made available to those who want it.
Yeah.
Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Put a 1 if you don't think everyone is deserving of immortality. Put a 2 if you think everyone should just be given no matter what, no matter their political opinions.
Yeah, if the founding fathers were writing the Constitution today, I could see them putting that in as you have the right to.
I mean, I wouldn't want
life
to live
extension.
forever, right? I mean, that takes away from my human experience here. It takes away from all the beautiful moments that I have here. I don't want that.
The main thing is it makes you not age, so you could always kill yourself, but you just won't. It won't be taken from you, I think, is the idea, except for these tragic accidents. They're going to be. That's the problem, too, is if people think they can live forever, if they're safe, they're going to become obsessive with keeping their surroundings safe and soft.
Bill Gates would lose his ish if everyone got a pill to live forever. Bill Gates would be, he would freak out right now and then start to doubling and tripling down on all of his efforts that he's already tripling and doubling down on right now.
This is what I think is a large component of it. There was this is 12 years ago, I saw Aubrey de Grey speak in California. You know Aubrey de Grey. He's
long hair, dude.
Yeah, he's a senescence researcher. And he said that, what did he say? I'll paraphrase it because it's been a decade. This is 12 years ago. Someone who is 45 today will live to be 1,000 years old. That's what he said. Not because we're going to invent a pill in the next 30 years that will make you live for 1,000 years, but because every year we develop new medical advancements, and our medical advancements progress faster than a person ages. So, for instance, someone's 45. In 10 years, they start getting, bad, arteries or whatever. Well, in the 10 years' time, we've already figured out a cure for that. 10 years later, he's got macular degeneration. His hearing, we've already got a cure for that. It's been 20 years. Now he's 100 years old, and it's like, and he's got joint pains. Don't worry, we've already figured out how to restore collagen. And so it's just going to keep happening. I actually think looking at stem cells and stem cell therapy, that stuff's scary, crazy. We talked about this on one of the members only segments. You can actually get stem cells taken from the umbilical cord or from your own skin or fat. They don't even got to take it from babies. That was a big concern back in the day. It was like they're taking, from aborted babies and stuff. Not even. They can take from your own skin or fat, your own stem cells, multiply them, inject them into your body. The stem cells will seek out damaged tissues and restore them full. Doesn't that, when I saw that, I watched this video about it, it freaked me out because I'm like, won't that just make you like immortal? Because if you're given fresh, so cells have a certain number of divisions as the telomeres break down, if our understanding of science is correct. If they're giving you a fresh, fully young baby cell that bonds, would it not just have perfect, complete, DNA that could replicate or whatever?
Sounds too good to be true.
Well, there's already elites getting blood from young people and athletes.
Bro,
just
stem cell therapy is $8,000. Mm-hmm. You call the company and say you want stem cells and exosomes, $15,000, and they come. I bet that's what Joe Biden's getting.
It's on its way to being like $80, but that's the question: Do the people that own the world or that are trying to run the business of the world, do they want 300, 7 billion people to live for another 6,000 years so that they can have 800 children each, and then we've got 900 billion people on Earth? Like, I don't think
that would start wars because you're fighting over resources at that point,
and cannibalism, because then at that point, human bodies are just mobile food sources.
Yeah.
I want to jump to this story from Media Matters. Luke, you want to read that one?
It is titled, Tim Pool and co-host make absurd claims that the government wants to control your cooking through the power grid.
You want to know why that's really funny? So, Luke, they're ragging on you here because you mentioned, and it was Jamie Michelle from Gays Against Groomers. And you said, for me, this is happening in order to push the kind of digitized everything. To fully have a technocratic society, you need everyone dependent on technology. And if you're able to cut off that technology, you're able to control people more, and cutting people's ability to heat their own food by simply clicking a button. That could be easily done with this new policy. And I think that's what they're really doing, in my opinion. Media Matters says it's absurd. Except in California, they already turned off people's ability to charge their cars. In Colorado, people got notices that they opted into a program
Turned out.
they couldn't change the heating on their homes. They couldn't turn the air conditioning up. So when you see this is how the media laundering works. You see a thing happen. They say you cannot charge your car because the grid is overloaded. That happened. Then they say you cannot turn on your air conditioning because the grid is overloaded. Then we sit here and go, now they want everyone to have only gas stoves. They want to be able to control the grid.
Electric stoves.
Electric stoves and electric cars, which they want to put on the grid in California. And
which is already
gas
overloaded.
cars or diesel cars.
And they've already turned off.
Yeah.
So we're not speculating at all. We're saying, hey, you know the thing they already did? If they get this, they can do it more. And then Media Matters comes out and says, what a weird conspiracy theory.
Yeah, New York, California, Washington, and Maryland. Maryland or Massachusetts, I think one of those two. Someone has to correct me on in the chat room there. All have quasi-natural gas bans in place and programs that phase them out over the next decade. The Biden administration is, of course, working closely with the EPA to make this a federal policy. And obviously, with the grid being overloaded in many instances, this is obviously going into why would they be doing this other than trying to, one, control everyone, or two, create organized chaos? What's the reason here? Can someone give me an explanation here? Did they give us an explanation here with Media Matters explaining why this is happening? I bet they didn't. I haven't read this article, but I'll eat my own words if they did.
It's funny. I said if they ban gas stoves nationwide, that means rural people won't have access to a lot of those. Won't have access, and a lot of those people have gas tanks in their houses, which would put their cooking on the grid, and that grid can be controlled by external forces. Granted, you can also get solar. The thing about solar is that even when you're in a rural area, because we set this up, you can get your own gas tank. Now you can heat your house. Now you can cook your food. You don't got to worry about it. With solar, you still have to get permission from the utilities and the grid to turn on. But theoretically, you could create your own solar, internalize the grid or whatever. But I think, this is another step towards absolute control.
Yeah, and now you add that with smart cities, smart grids, walkable cities, surveillance cameras, artificial intelligence, facial recognition. They're setting up essentially a prison all around you, a technocratic digital one that there's no escaping.
And don't forget, the voice of the robots always got to be British. I don't know why, but they do.
Yeah.
And then, like, you're going to go to your kitchen, and you're going to go to your refrigerator, and there's going to be a camera on it, and you're going to try and open it, it won't open, and it's going to be like, I'm sorry, Luke, you're looking pretty fat. And you're going to be like, I'm hungry. No, you're not. And then it just doesn't open.
Yeah.
I mean, not seriously like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like, warning, your refrigerator has been turned off due to excessive usage. You are over your allotment of carbon by 47 points or whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you open your fridge, your food will spoil.
Yeah, carbon, social credit score through the central bank digital currencies that they're all talking about implementing through the World Economic Forum in Davos. So yeah, it's already here in many instances.
I imagine it's like we're playing a game of chess. And Luke is saying, look, they can move their knight here and that would be a problem. And then Media Matters says, no, that's not a problem at all. And we're like, wait a second, you can make that move. So that stuff like that actually wakes people up. The more they do silly stuff like that, it wakes people up.
Look at, there's even the quote from Luke saying, oh, your Tesla is also going to be off too.
Yeah, it's like Luke saying if the knight gets moved there, that could be a problem. And they say, Luke said that the government's planning on moving his knight there. And Luke's like, I didn't say that they are. I mean, at least in your quote, you didn't say they are. You said, I think that this can happen. I mean, you were pretty plain that it's what you think can happen. I don't think you're
when I
express to know what other people are
when I
doing.
express my opinions, I say I'm expressing my opinions because it's important to do that because, again, we don't know for sure what the future is going to look like, but we see through the UN 2030 vision, we see through the Great Reset, through the Build Back Better, we see through all their talking points, their own articles, their own websites, them calling for this, essentially having total control of everyone's life through technology. And whether it's your refrigerator having Wi-Fi or your blender or your stove or your car, being dependent on the grid, having smart grids, having everything online leads to a lot of possibilities of a lot of powerful people using that power and authority over you to punish you arbitrarily for whatever they want.
Did you see Klaus Schwab saying the next bad thing will be if the power grid goes out across the earth? I mean, it was just a Twitter video I'm seeing. Like, could you imagine a life 2035 where some false flag or some organization decides to shut off the power grid of the entire planet, and then people can't cook, they can't drive, and then they start getting these warnings on their phone, we need you to mobilize to do X. Like, people are going to be out of their freaking mind. They'll do whatever the government freaking tell. Like, we do not want to find ourselves in that position. That is my point. And it is like, do the math. Do the math. If you think it can happen and you've done the math and it shows that it can, then it can. No matter how many times people ridicule you.
Yeah, we're slowly and surely losing our rights. And not only that, we're losing our privacy. We're losing our ability to be secure. And we're heading down one particular road, and it's a pretty clear road. We're on a train, and there's another train coming. And now claiming that a train's coming or you're on the train is somehow absurd. So, whatever.
Yeah, there's no dispute that the government could do what Luke is talking about. So it's interesting that they don't cover that. Like, that could be a problem, whether it's on purpose or not. If you get everybody on electric devices, then you have more control over them.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if Hitler had the technological advancements that we have right now. I mean, he was already using IBM. He was already using some of the biggest corporations in the world that were working with him and helping him facilitate a larger power grabs.
Don't you ever watch Justice League, bro?
No, I don't.
So,
I don't know.
I can't remember. It's been a long time since I watched this episode, but I think it was Vandal Savage. I'm not sure. But all of a sudden history changes and the Nazis had won in the future. And it's because a single like 2000s laptop was sent back to Nazi Germany. It was a really awesome point to make for a kids show. Because like, to understand the computational power of a modern laptop in the hands of a world power, it's like, dude, the Enigma machine was this like ultimate device the Nazis had. And it was just like this rudimentary analog device where they moved cables around to encrypt messages. I have to imagine that like Enigma encryption is like dog crap compared to today's computers. And I bet any modern laptop, well, I could be wrong about this, but I'd assume a modern laptop could crack the Enigma encryption. So like, I watched, what was that movie with Benedict Cumberbatch? What is it called?
About
Enigma and Alan Turing.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought it was a really bad movie, by the way. But basically, he builds this machine that goes through every possible, a passcode or like permutation to figure out what the Nazi messages are.
The imitation game.
Yeah, there you go.
That's right.
And it's like he builds the computer. It's like one of the first computers. And it's mechanical, and things are just like spinning. Man, you take a modern cell phone for $20.
Yeah.
And you're gonna like press a button, it's gonna go like decrypting.
Yeah. Look, like, don't you think that would be pretty fast, Ian? Like, just to run, like, literally just brute forcing it with a laptop eventually. I think it wouldn't take too long for it to
do what?
To crack Enigma.
I don't know enough about Enigma. I think quantum computing is insane though, because it can treat numbers as a 1 and a 0, and it's trying to figure out number strings. So it can,
if homie could build a computer in like 1941 or whenever it was, or 43, to crack an encryption, I'm pretty sure our computers today can easily crack that encryption.
I think so too.
Very, very fast.
Hitler was like, the only reason that he was who he was for the most part is because of the technology that he had, like telephone. I don't know what their phone situations were like. Yeah, telephone. They had video. They had film. The manipulation of film and radio got an entire country of people rallied around him. So now we're just on the next magnitude of global communication systems that can be hijacked.
Guys, Enigma was like considered unbreakable. It was originally cracked in like the late 30s by a Polish dude, and then Alan Turing famously worked on this machine to crack it. I just Google searched on Quora. It says, how long would it take today's computers to crack the Enigma machine? And this guy Rupert Baines responds, GCHQ, the UK version of NSA, did it with a Raspberry Pi and Legos in 15 seconds.
Wow. That's wild.
15 seconds, dude. Imagine taking one of those things back to World War II. Crazy.
Yeah, and for that headline, the other part of it is, so Luke says the government could make this chess move. So then Media Matters says, don't look at the move, don't look at the move. Doesn't that make you even think more like you're going to make that move? Why would you not acknowledge that move could be made? The downsides to pushing everybody to electric.
And they called me an InfoWars employee. I was never an InfoWars employee. You got that wrong again.
Well, they just post fake news anyway.
I mean, get your facts straight. Like, if you're going to call me an employee of a former company, okay, let's fact check that I actually worked for that company. I didn't.
I got to be honest. I really like Media Matters because all they really do is create like clips of the show. It's like aside from putting the word absurd in the title, I really don't mind that they're clipping the show and sharing it with everybody.
And then they just run
It's like free advertising.
What's the text they were on the?
Yeah, it's just a transcript.
Yeah, I noticed that article transcript.
And then I was
Big
like,
fans of Media Matters.
Like at the bottom, it's like in this article, Tim Pool, and then I'm like, oh, what's this? For some reason, they use this picture of me from like 12 years ago. What's up with that?
I'm glad they brought up the.
It's hard to find pictures of you, I think, Tim.
I don't think I'm on the show every single night.
He has a YouTube channel every day.
Other than screenshots of the show.
Oh, they use the black and the red background to make it kind of look like fascist.
You know what I love? This one right here. It says extremist bigots and conspiracy theorists, YouTuber Tim Pool's 2022 guests in review. And it's like, they try really hard to smear people. Like the things they were saying about Adrienne Curry, it's just like, are you nuts? Like they're just desperately trying to make everybody extreme right. And I'm pretty sure they did not put Seamus on the list. And Seamus was like, I was a co-host of that show for 7 months.
It was the most extreme, the most bigoted.
He's like, I'm a conservative Catholic. I didn't make the list.
I think one of the problems I feel like Media Matters is having in a lot of companies is that they're looking for drama where there doesn't have to be any. Sometimes you're just talking about stuff.
Yeah, I think part of it is to make sure that what they're really afraid of, just like when Tim did his event this weekend, they're afraid of you going out and meeting people and talking to people of all different political spectrums. So Media Matter does that, and it's less likely that you're going to get a leftist on your show, right? They don't want to be called right wing, or you're talking with all these radical people. So it keeps you in the echo chamber. I think that's why I like the idea you guys are doing with the coffee shops. Like, let's get together and talk. It can be apolitical. I'm wearing a Yaira shirt from Eric July. He has his comic book. He made this character up. And that's just like you guys do your music. It's apolitical. They don't want Cenk Uygur on this show. They wouldn't want that. I know it would be contentious, but they don't want people of different politics coming on.
I don't think it would. We had the Krasensteins on.
Yeah, we just had them on.
It was kind of boring.
Yeah.
It was just like, we know each other's opinions and we disagree. And it's like, okay. You know, because a lot of people were like, Tim, push back harder. And I'm like, the dudes are allowed to have opinions we disagree with. I can't be like, I think your opinion is wrong. It's like, well, I think your facts are wrong. Like, here's where I think and they're like, well, we like these things. And I'm like, well, you're allowed to like them.
Yeah. But those discussions are important, though. So they don't want that happening.
But why do you think that is?
Why they don't want that happening?
Yeah, it's a speculation at this point.
Well, I mean, I'm playing chess too. I think they want everybody funneled online. The pandemic was a great opportunity because you can control people with algorithms. And it's very hard online to break out of your algorithm. So they don't want people if you talk with somebody else, then you can say, hey, oh, I got this problem too. My kids are having this problem at school. And then all of a sudden, how do you do stochastic terrorism? If I know you and we have a connection and you're my neighbor, or we've had a couple of discussions and somebody says, oh, he's saying all this radical stuff, you can't really make that stick. I know him. I'm not worried about your thing. So I think the solution to all of this is connecting with people. I mean, right, Tim? I mean, that's what you're doing with your culture stuff.
So I think so much of this fear the left has is fake. Is like it's real fear, but the cause of it is fake. So I'll tell you guys. Many of you maybe have heard the story, but we'll talk about it now. So not this past weekend, the weekend before, I go and skate in DC at Freedom Plaza. Nothing happens. Just literally skate around, hang out. Apparently, some like woke crew got angry and started sending messages throughout the skate community about how I was brought there by some pros. I wasn't. I got there before they were there. And it's like, of course I know who they are. They're famous pro skaters. And so I was like, oh, wow, look, these pro skaters. And so apparently it was a big deal. And there are messages being sent around. I'm getting texts from like pros. They were like, yo, like it's a lot of flack going on. Like people are mad that you were there. And I'm like, nobody said anything to me. They were posting in forums lies, saying like everybody stayed on the other side of the park. What are you talking? I was sitting alongside 15 other people and we were chilling. There was a dog and the dog pissed on the ground and where I was skating and these things happen. And so I'm like, my guys, it's not real. We go skate all over the place. You know what the only thing I see? We went to the opening to Hagerstown Skate Park, Maryland, fist bumps, high fives. People were like, whoa, oh crap, yo, Tim, cool to see you here. Let's skate. We went up to one indoor skate park in Altoona, Pennsylvania, and I walk in and what do I hear? They're coming for your income tax. And I'm like, these guys watching income?
I can verify I was there that day.
It was cool. Yeah, we hung out. And the dudes were like, oh, wow, cool to see you. And they were like, dude, skateboarders are like anti-establishment people. But all of a sudden now I got these industry people being like, bro, we're taking a lot of heat. Like people are really freaking out about what's going on. And I said, no, they aren't, dude. This is not true. And they were like, well, look, man, like it's getting bad. And then I said, I'm going to go back on Saturday. I'm going to tell everybody to be there. And I'm telling you, nothing's going to happen. And what happened? A bunch of people showed up. We skated. We hung out. People took pictures. I gave out skateboards. Locals gave me fist bumps. And we had a good time. Then someone told us about this little spot called the Big Board in D.C. that defied the lockdowns. And they were like, you should go eat there because they told Muriel Bowser to F you when she was trying to lock everything down. And then I said to everybody, okay, that's where we're going. And we packed the place. It was just like every table filled, this whole venue. That's what it's all about. Not only did we prove that the fear these people in skateboarding had over, oh no, everyone's going to be mad you're there. Oh, not true. Never happened. It was a lie to scare you into not speaking up and being yourself. And I had no problem showing up, skating around and bringing Taylor Silverman. And Taylor, of course, is the one who called out biological males competing against females against her. And she gets tons of threats and hate. And we announced we'll be in a public square by ourselves, with our fans or whatever and our friends, but like skating around. Any one of these whack jobs could have come up to us and done anything they wanted. Nothing happened. Not a single hater showed up. No violence, nothing but happiness and high fives. And then with that gathering and people met each other and talked to each other, hung out and laughed and had a good time, we also told everybody to go and hang out at the Big Board in DC to support businesses that stood up for what they believed in, creating nothing but massive positivity without a modicum of hate or resistance. People need to stop believing the lies. The woke people are like, we'll cancel you. What's the worst that's going to happen? What's the worst that's going to happen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I want to know what the money is behind groups like Antifa, because I don't think it's organic. I don't think it's really there. I think you have to have some type of funding or push to get, you don't think so?
I don't think you need funding to get a bunch of unemployed whack jobs to go be whack jobs. You need some because organizational power is tough. Mm-hmm. But it shows you that if there's nothing to target, there's nothing to target. If I announced we were doing a legitimate event, speakers, tents and everything, they could stop that. They'd call the city, they'd make complaints. But when I said, I'm just going to be standing there, not a single hater showed up. Not a single complaint was made. We skated around, did some tricks. I did a kind of a bunk forward flip because it was like windy and cold. Someone filmed it. So they put up a video on Instagram. Actually, let me shout the dude on Instagram out. I think I have it on my phone.
That's pretty cool. Were you still going to do a skate channel? I remember a while back you talked about it.
We're working on it. Let me... it just disappeared.
Do you have this kind of feeling of community where you're from? Do you think there's a way to help facilitate all of that?
I think everybody has their own talents. So where I'm from, I don't really feel feel it much anywhere. I mean, there's not many people working towards that solution. I want to do a shout out to Black Pegasus, who's a hip hop artist out of Colorado. This Christmas, he went around to Christmas malls. And he's been practicing freestyling, him and his partner Don. So they walk up to random people and they just say, hey, how you doing? You want a candy cane? They take a candy cane out. There's like a little $5 bill on it. And then they say, give me 3 words. I'm going to rap a song for you, just out of the blue. And then they rap a song for him. And then sometimes they give him like a stack of ones or something like that. But that's connecting to people, completely apolitical. But I believe everybody has their own talent to do that. Maybe you sew, maybe you play music, whatever that is, that's the answer to me to break away from what we're seeing.
Right.
The Ballistic Boy on Instagram. Everybody follow The Ballistic Boy. He produced a video from the quote unquote unevent we did. And there's just happy people standing around taking pictures, people skating and doing tricks, fist bumps, no hate. And that was to prove a point that I could show up in public with a week's lead time. Everybody can know nothing bad's going to happen.
I got mixed feelings about it because it feels like going into a bear's den and then standing there and being like, see, the bear didn't attack me. I'm fine. But like, it's not, I don't think it's sustainable.
What bear though? That's the point. There was no bear there. You're calling it a bear's den. And I'm like, bro, we're going to go in. We're gonna turn the flashlight and show you there's not a bear in here.
Not a bear's den, but it's like saying, hey, all bears, I'm going to be here. on this time and this day.
They're not bears, and
They're not bears,
and you shouldn't live. I mean, some of them are pretty chunky, but they don't move like bears.
There's squirrels. Okay, and what happens? Can a squirrel attack you and bite you? All these things, yes.
And give you rabies.
Do you want to, run into a cave full of angry rabid squirrels? You don't. But you know what happens when you yell around squirrels? They run away.
Yeah.
Right. It's just that I don't know if it's sustainable to dox yourself and other people a week beforehand to 500,000 people. And
providing our assassination coordinates.
Yeah, exactly. Like if we did that every week for 10 years, I would imagine one of those weeks something bad could it's just not a sustainable practice.
Maybe. But when we were in Nashville and we wanted to go play at John Rich's Honky Tonk and the death threats came in, they said, we can't do it. And then I said, I don't care. I'll do it anyway. Nothing's going to happen. And they were like, but there are people here. If something does happen, there's kids who could get hurt. I said, okay, fine. It's like your venue. I did this to prove that point. These people are all talk. All bark, no bite.
I used to notice that in LA too. Like I was like, I'm tired of this. People, they would say in LA, people are fake, and I knew they weren't. So I had to get through these people. I just decided, let's get rid of the pretense. Go straight eye contact to eye contact. Every human I would meet, I would talk to them like this, as if they were my best friend, and people would respond as if they were my best friend when you give them that energy. So yeah. I think you can get through to every human. It was 100%. It would work 100% of the time. And then, but what I realized is you can't be friends with everybody. You got about 60 people. After that, it starts to drive you insane.
Well, so you shouldn't live your life in fear. Like I refuse to do that. And you talked about how Tim's doxing himself. I mean, people know where we live, right? The address here has been leaked many times, but we've been swatted many times. So they already know. So what's stopping them from doing anything? I mean, it's really based on your approach as a human being and how you interact and what you bring into your own life. And I just refuse to be in that kind of fear mindset myself.
I agree. I don't want to live in fear. But I don't think it doesn't mean if you decide not to do certain things, it doesn't mean that it's because you're afraid or a coward. Like some things technically or mathematically are not a good function that you want to be involved with.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you're afraid. You're just doing the math, looking at the odds, looking at the risk.
Mm-hmm.
But if they could get you there, they could get you here, right? Because they know.
I'll give you an example, though, of Tim, showing the boundaries. Remember when Andy No, in my opinion, unnecessarily put himself undercover the second time? He had already came out with this book on Antifa. Then he went undercover again. And you guys covered it, remember? And Tim, I believe, and I agreed with this, said that was an unnecessary risk. So I think, you guys did the risk. I think you have a great point. You got to look at the risk reward. I don't think Tim's going to do it every week, but the courage, you've got to show some courage. I think for everybody watching this isn't just for Tim or Ian or anybody else. We've all got to have courage. The history of this country is founded on people with courage. I mean, they tried to tax tea, 3 cents a pound of tea, and they went nuts. I want peacefulness, but you have to have courage to stand up for, and courage can be just like what we're doing now, just talking.
I respect Andy tremendously, and I think what he did was tremendously brave.
Yeah.
I just felt that the risk versus reward was extremely high risk with really low reward. It was a local fringe Antifa meeting. It wasn't a big prominent one. It was like a handful of just lunatics, and then he went right into the middle of their group. What we were doing was going to a place I had already been and had no issues at, telling my friends to show up there a week in advance, and then showing up, and nothing happened. I didn't say I'm going to go find Antifa's house and go inside of it, right. And we talked. Andy and I talked about it. I apologize for being crass and everything, but I still think it was unnecessary risk. I respect him wanting to cover this stuff and get more information. I do. I understand it, but we were basically saying, hey, we skate. We're allowed to be here. I live here. I live in this area. I'm going to skate here. And I proved that a lot of this is just nonsense. And I got to be honest. I'm willing to bet if Andy No announced he was going to be at Freedom Plaza, nobody would have shown up to harass him. It would not have happened.
Yeah, it does seem like it's more about the events. It's more about the the intentions that are being blockaded and stressed, not the people themselves. It's almost irrelevant who the people are.
Why do you think it was different with the Nashville show? Where there was
someone else owned the venue.
Oh, so
I'd still gone.
So they put pressure on the venue owners or whoever the business is.
Well, John Rich owned it, and
was it his? Okay,
it was his place, and he said, "Why don't we go jam?" I said, "Let's do it," and we announced it. Yep. And then they got some suspicious calls. A guy showed up. Some other stuff happened, and he was like, "We can't do it." This is the problem. They can use this as an attack vector. They can't use it against me.
Right.
It might work against your traditional run of the mill person who's like, "Look, I can't risk the security stuff. My attitude is like, dude, I'm not the one, you know, when Antifa goes around throwing Molotov cocktails, I'm not the one who threw it. That's not on me, and you can't put that on me. If I'm going to exist and live in the space, I will do it. And if a crazy person is crazy, that's something for the government, for the police to deal with. And then to the extent that we have to defend ourselves, we will too. So when we open our cafe, I'm not going to put up signs in the window saying, please don't hurt us. I'm going to put up signs in the window saying, Molan Labe, America first.
Yeah.
Don't tread on me. And everyone's going to know exactly who we are and what we believe. And maybe they'll want to say nasty things about us. Don't know, don't care. No external factor is going to come in. And look, I didn't run a business during the lockdowns, but I absolutely would have been one of the businesses saying F you to the machine, just like the big board did in DC. Shout out to them again, because that's the story. I guess they said, no way, we're not shutting down. I done the same thing. And see, here's the thing. It's easy for me to say because we've got funds. For these smaller businesses that actually did it, that shows you who's got balls. These guys do.
Yeah.
Big board, by the way, open till midnight. If you guys want to get in there and get some food.
If you're in DC, that's where you should be eating. Because I got to admit, the wings were good. I got the Kung Pao wings. It was really good. Yeah, it was really, really good, actually.
I'm hungry again.
This is like once as you get more famous as an entertainer, your role becomes like Andy No's situation. He used to be able to go under cover because no one knew who he was. Now he's serving a different function. But you're right that we need to be brave. But like I used to do gatherings and meetups and events out in the open. We'd all be like, hey, on the 7th of July, we're all going to meet in Washington Square Park. We'd get like 50 people would go. We'd all have cameras. I never thought in my mind like danger. That never crossed my mind, but I was an unknown person at that time. I don't know if it matters how famous you are.
I don't know. But I was thinking as well, it's also like if they know like Fox News is going to be there, if they know CNN's going to be there, then they're more likely to go out and do these things and protest and create like counter protests and everything like that. But if it's just Tim going to go hang out, I don't think that they're going to, they're not going to show up. There's no reason to.
We announced, Phil was going to be there. Libby Emmons was there.
Oh,
Taylor
cool.
Silverman was there.
She moved, didn't she? Did she move from
Libby?
New York? I think I saw an article.
Yeah, she did. She did.
Because
Rural
every
now.
time she comes on, I'm like, how are you in New York with, things are getting serious.
know.
Where did she move to again?
I don't know.
Okay.
She'll have to say.
Okay.
But Libby went rural.
Wow.
No, I
Nice
think
job, Lib.
the way we described it was, if you create an event, they'll attack the venue. They'll use the government against you. If you just make it an un-event, there's literally nothing they can do.
Right.
Because if they show up to protest, I'll be like, oh, you guys are going to
Protest
protest
what?
here? I'll go skate across the street.
Yeah, protest what?
Exactly.
You
Good
might
luck.
be onto something. Do you think that would work in Portland?
Yes.
Wow. You might be onto something.
Why
So-
Portland?
Well, I mean, isn't that the heart or wherever?
Rose City.
Antifa
But this is basically what they do.
Yeah.
They march around randomly.
Totally.
And so what are the cops going to do? You can't stand here. Okay, we'll stand over there.
Yeah.
So obviously, though, when like Patriot Prayer marches around, they fight with them, But my thing is like, I didn't set up an event to protest anything.
Yeah.
Or
Just
to
skate.
declare anything.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm going to be here and I'm going to assert cultural presence in the space. Right. And then we gave out like 30 or some odd boards. And I told these guys, I will flood the DC Metro with 1,000 free skateboards. I will give every single little kid in this metro area a free skateboard, every skating kid. And then every little kid will be riding around on a Step on Sneck and Find Out board, and all the woke people can cry about it. And then you know what we can do? Because we're opening this cafe, second floor is going to be skate and game shop. We will sell our boards at dirt prices, cost. And I know a lot of people are, that's bad for other shops or whatever. Yeah, but the other shops are woke. There's like one or two other shops, and I don't hear good things about them. And so I'm like, well, you know what? If these are the people who ride for these shops, then I hope they go out of business. And that's competition, baby. You get woke, you go broke. I'll open up my shop. We'll sell all of our stuff as dirt cheap as possible. And then let's see how long these woke shops can last.
True.
Let's compete.
Are you going to sell wheels and trucks too?
Oh, of course. Yeah, everything. Well, we're not going to make our own. Making your own wheels is actually pretty easy because it's all like you find a company that does urethane and then you get it special formula and labeling. Skate decks are relatively similar. You find a company, you find the shape and the sizes you want, and then you get the graphics put on them. So we'll have all our own stuff, but we'll probably just sell your typical skate stuff, and we'll sell it for dirt. We'll sell it at cost. We'll pass those savings on to the regular people. Now distributors are going to get mad. A lot of these warehouses might refuse us service, being like, no, because you're gonna hurt our other business. Because if shops go out of business because they're only buying for you, then we lose sales and things like that. I've seen it happen in the past.
Yeah, what I noticed that when you look at around at stores, you'll never see like, well, I can't say never, but like a discrepancy in the cost of an item from Target to Walmart to mom and pop, like not that much. Or maybe I'm wrong about that, but are there like cabals that are price fixing behind the scenes, like Hasbro?
Well, it's not about price fixing. It's like if there are 10 skate shops in one area, and one of them goes to the warehouse and they're all buying from the same distributor. It's a big warehouse that has everything, and then they sell it to the shops. They might not do it the same way anymore now with the internet and Amazon and all that stuff. But if one of these shops starts selling boards for $1 over cost compared to like $5 over cost, the other shops do. The other shops start being unable to compete, start buying less from the warehouse, complain to the warehouse being like, yeah, this one shop's just gutting us. Then they'll say, we cut off one shop or we lose 5 customers. It's not necessarily price fixing. But I don't know, it might be illegal. I've heard stories, But I'm down. We'll see what we can do.
I think that's the answer, what you're doing right there.
Yeah. It's literally like just making, the Marxists always say everything's politics. Well, then let's make things not politics. Let's do things that aren't politics.
Or
let's make music that isn't politics music.
Or it is. Like, you're going to come to a skate shop with a big old Gadsden flag flying above it.
Marxists win if everything's politics.
I'll put it this way.
To be that way.
True.
We'll have a big old Gadsden flag on our skate shop. But when you walk through those doors, underneath that Gadsden flag, followed by a Molon Labe flag, you're going to get a premium quality pro skateboard gear for cheaper.
Good coffee, too.
With coffee. Yeah, you get a free coffee with every board.
Yeah.
Free coffee. Heavy cream included because we're keto.
Yeah.
But why would any mother, father, or skater be like, I'd rather go to that woke skate shop where everything's 50% more expensive because I'm woke. No, they're going to be like, look, man, dude, the board's a board. I can't afford it.
True.
And then when they're riding around on a step-on-step and find out board and their woke friends are like, why are you riding Tim Pool's board? Like, because it costs $20, dude. Right. And it's pro quality.
Yep.
Shaq did a very similar thing with sneakers.
That's right.
Because he talked about how a mother came to him and was complaining about how his sneakers were, I think, $100 or $150, and that was unaffordable. Mm-hmm. So he then worked with, I forgot what company he worked with, but he made his own shoe line, and he made sneakers $20. And then he was able to get a huge chunk of the market and make a lot of people happy, and was able to sell a lot more shoes than a lot of the other competitors that he was going up against, because he decided to price them out fairly. Because a lot of the times when you're paying for a product, you're paying for the branding, you're paying for the marketing, you're paying for all the other bullcrap associated with it, which is now associated with the ESG social credit score system, which is meant to indoctrinate you, which is meant to, of course, divide you and to, of course, eventually conquer you. But if you're able to do the opposite of that, let's do it. I'm in.
I don't have Disney anymore.
Oh, Stefan Mulberry also did I want to shout him out because he was around where I grew up. He was a basketball player. He also did a very similar thing. He made his own sneakers, his own clothing line at a very affordable price compared to his competitors. So shouts out to Stefan Mulberry. Awesome guy.
I don't have Disney anymore because ever since the Uyghur Muslim scandal that happened, I said I would never sign it back up. So I had already had a year subscription. It lapsed. But the thing is, I don't expect people to cancel their Netflix, their HBO, or whatever, because people want entertainment. It's a normal thing people buy. We just need to create something to compete with it so that people are like, I'd rather not watch that. It is very difficult. It is very easy to open a skate shop relative to starting a global media company with subscription service to compete with the likes of the 30 million or whatever Netflix subscribers. But that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about doing. So I think the brick and mortar shop is probably the faster route towards building culture. We obviously, with Cast to Cast, Soul Tales in the Inverted World, Pop Culture Crisis, we here at Timcast are working on creating media products. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to do because, with an online product, let's say Pop Culture Crisis, we need more. We want more people to watch that, talk about pop culture and stuff, and have that influence exist. But this is an internet space, meaning there's no location. You just literally have to create the audience. With a physical location, you've got natural flow. So for the building we have now, we open a coffee shop, revenue's basically guaranteed. We can afford to operate it, and we can make just enough money to keep it running. Skate shop and everything as well. And then we can easily make more and keep doing it, replicate it all over the country, maybe even in other countries, and then have a space where when you walk in to buy a coffee, you look on the TV and what do you see playing as you're ordering your coffee? It's Luke Rudkowski ranting about Klaus Schwab. Imagine that. Imagine there were 1,000 coffee shops and they were like as ubiquitous as Starbucks. But instead of going in and seeing CNN on TV, you see Steven Crowder or Sticks X Nammer or Viva and Barnes or Middle Maga.
Yeah.
And then regular customers aren't gonna, they're gonna walk in and be like, oh, what's this? And they're gonna be sipping their coffee, be like, oh, that's cool. And that's how we gain access for more people and more cultural spaces. That's the plan, man.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll franchise it. Maybe that'll be the plan.
And also competitions, just like skateboarding competitions. Stefan Marbury used to have basketball competitions in Coney Island that I used to play in. And he would get the funds from a lot of his bigger kind of companies and the cheaper sneakers he would kind of give out there, and then pay for this competition, pay for this larger festival. You got free sneakers, you got free jerseys, and he would always come through the community and give a lot of the stuff out. And I remember being a young kid in Brooklyn at the time, being a part of that, thinking how cool that someone in the NBA is coming here and giving back to the community more than all these other people who, of course, essentially sell out and forget where they came from. So, Stefan Marbury was awesome. Shouts him out. I want to shout him out again because of the impact he had on me playing basketball in New York City.
Yeah, I didn't know you played hoops.
Yeah, I love basketball, and that was a big part of my life when I was very young. It's a great way of staying out of trouble, especially in New York City.
We got to do, man. We got to build culture. We were talking about this a little bit before the show. Elon Musk, or I think even during the show. And I hung out at a party with a bunch of people in Elon Musk's circle, and they all believe that technology is the solution to the culture war. And I'm like, that's like saying, if we're going to win this war, I need to buy a lot of land. Because everybody knows whoever controls the land wins the war. So by owning the land, it's like, okay, dude, they're going to walk onto your land with guns.
Yeah, because you have no people on the land.
Exactly.
The challenge is getting the land and people on the land. So they're not fully there.
Buying the land isn't going to give you the battlefield, but that's how they feel. So to a certain extent, it obviously does benefit. You know, like Elon Musk buying Twitter did a lot of really important things. But they genuinely, all these guys are like, yeah, once we control tech, then we're going to, it's like, maybe a little bit.
Yeah. You can increase awareness. And I look at it like if anybody plays these StarCraft type of games, you can increase your land mass, like Tim's talking about, but you need to have people on it for it to really mean something, to be able to protect it. So I think that helps, but that's not the full answer. Elon Musk is great in the area of business and engineering and all that. When it comes to the solutions to these issues, I think he's an infant. I think morally he's struggling. We were talking about the Twitter Files releases. Is anybody watching the Twitter Files? Anybody reading those? I mean, I'm reading them, but no, it's not reaching anybody, and I think he's struggling.
Look, man, you know, people got mad because I was, you know, Luke and I were eating dinner, and I see that one of the Twitter Files stories comes out Saturday at like 6 p.m. And then I was like, are you nuts, dude? Not only is it a Saturday when traffic is at an all-time low for the week, but it's dinner time on Saturday. Meaning, like, Saturday morning's a maybe. People are waking up and they might check their phone. Friday evening is rough because everyone's leaving work and going to the bar. Yep. Saturday afternoon, you're done. And I'm like, did they intentionally kill this story by doing so?
It seemed like it.
Now, they keep doing this stupid thing where they're like, you got to slow roll the stories. You got to, like with the Snowden stuff. Glenn Greenwald and Poitras, they're like, I don't know if it was whose idea it was, but they were like, slowly release the stories to maximize reach. And I'm like, no. What happens is you put out mediocre story, mediocre story, mediocre story. We're done. We're tired. Not interested. With the Twitter Files, they should have released like 10 stories all at once. They should have put the files in a repository and released them and let the entire community have access. Instead, I guess Twitter Files came out this morning. Nobody tweeted it. Nobody shared it.
Are you serious? I didn't even
know.
15? The last one I saw was 14.
Oh, yeah. It was Li Feng.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, he started the Twitter Files thread 10 hours ago.
Wow.
So
they should have just dropped all the files all at once like WikiLeaks.
Yeah, if I had access to the Twitter Files and I released them like how Elon did, like everybody would be destroying me. Right? They'd be like, what are you doing? Like, who cares? Are you releasing them on a Saturday?
This is a big story, too. This is about the pharmaceutical industry lobbying big tech to ban people who are anti-vax. Wow. Or not even anti-vax.
Or calling for cheaper medicines.
Right.
Yep.
And so this dropped from the Twitter Files, and nobody talked about it. Here's what should have happened. he should have dumped all communications, because the other issue is Elon Musk is hoping these journalists can find the stories. Big mistake.
Yeah, and
Matt Taibbi's fantastic, but there's probably something in the Twitter files. I'll give you an example. If I was talking to somebody and said, let's say the email says something like this. Hey, this is Tim from over at Timcast. I was wondering if you can give me an update on the nollie foot frontside crooked grind. We were looking at John hitting those slappies, and we wanted to get something a bit more substantive. So we needed maybe like big heel back tail, big flip out. Matt Taibbi's going to look at that email and be like, I have no idea what this says, and he's going to ignore it. Now, anybody who skates is going to be like, they're filming a skate video. Those are some sick tricks. Big heel back tail. That's crazy. Like, we're talking about big inward heel, man. We're not talking about frontside. But my point is jargon, esoteric language. Someone might say something like an acronym. One of the pharmaceutical guys might be like, "Yo, we got a JN3, out of our backlog files, and this is pretty serious." And he's going to be like, "I don't know what that is." And then somebody who knows security might mean that this was a Russian hacker who broke in and stole people's medical files or something. Who knows? Mm-hmm. If Elon were to take all the emails and just dump them out and be like, "There you go, everybody," you'd have decentralized investigation.
Right.
You'd have people in the medical industry being like, whoa, look at this. Instead, what you get are journalists who are not experts in any of this, trying to find the social sounding stories to publish. Mm-hmm. Hey, look, pharmaceutical companies lobbied to ban content. Okay, I'm not surprised by that. But what about the pharmaceutical companies talking in emails with other executives about adverse effects, monetary policy pertaining to the vaccines, things that a layman could not understand? The journalists are taking a political angle. How were they colluding with each other? A person who's into medical or pharmaceutical might be like, how were they preparing to sell this? And what were they saying about the RN6 codes? I'm making it up. But let's say like there's an FDA administrative code that gets released with every product. These journalists wouldn't even know what to look for. Instead, we get limited access, put out on terrible times, and nobody even knows it's happening.
We need 4chan to have the files now.
No, actually,
not even a joke. Not even a joke.
I'm going to take it a little further. I think the Twitter files are a psyop. This is Elon Musk is not. He might be kind of a novice in a way with the media side of stuff, but he's not stupid. And we know there's still FBI and CIA agents there at Twitter right now. Dr. Shiva Arude said that Elon Musk was asked point blank, is the portal still open between the government and Twitter? And he said, I'll look into it. So it's, to me, and then Jim Baker, you probably remember that, Jim Baker was filtering the files. When you look at all the Twitter files, at the end of each thread, they say, we didn't do the searching. A Twitter lawyer did the search. They're not even able to search through the data. To me, you add all of it up, it's almost like Elon, and this is complete speculation, this is playing chess. Elon, remember he was held up on the deal for a while in court before he said, okay, I'm going to buy it. What if Elon was like, I got to buy it, but I want people to trust me. So let me go ahead. I got to release some information for people to buy into me. So you release some information, you release it on odd hours, you slow roll it. Now, I didn't even know, I've been following this stuff. I didn't even know it was released. So now you've built some trust with the radical people who are paying attention. There's no normie. Around Thanksgiving, I think it was, or Christmas, I was asking normies. Anytime I saw a normie that, we're just chilling somewhere, I was like, have you ever heard of the Twitter files? Not one person told me they knew anything. I was like, what do you think of Elon Musk? They're like, I hate him. I'm like, why they don't even know him? It's a psyop to, in my opinion, affect those who are paying attention, to gain trust, and to buy in. And Elon's, I think it's paying off. How many people do you see on the right, kind of bigging him up? And I think Elon Musk has been a fraud so far. It could change. But when it comes to his First Amendment stance and the Twitter files, this is a debacle.
And to add to your point, maybe that's why the stories get released on Friday and Saturday nights, to make sure they don't actually have any real press impact.
Elon?
It's PR 101.
Yeah, the question's out there, Elon. Tell us why they're released at this time. Why haven't you released all the files now? Why are the lawyers doing the searching?
Well, it could be to try to bring people in for when traffic is low on Twitter in order to build up advertisers. I mean, and then let's be honest here. I think Elon Musk lost more money than anyone else in recorded history
on the deal
on this particular deal, and he lost a lot. He wagered a lot too. What he's doing with it, is he going to be doing the Hive Mind? Is he going to be doing the X app, the everything WhatsApp, WeChat app? I mean, time will only tell. I'm still waiting for the Fauci files, and then I'm going to make my decision after that to discern what is going on here. But so far, hey, we did get a lot of crazy information, especially about the FBI essentially running Twitter, essentially running social media, and deciding who has a voice and not. That's huge. Having those receipts, I mean, that's big right there. So what's happening behind the scenes, I don't know. But I want to give him a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt myself.
I felt like it was very cringe the way things happened, and I'm going to be really critical about it. Calling it the Twitter files is like, we're a little group. Look how cool we are.
What's the name that you would give him?
You don't need to name it.
Yeah.
Just release the data.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell?
I agree.
And then he gives it to like particular journalists. They're like, I'm the one with the power now. And you're like,
I can't stand it.
So gross.
Always hated it.
What also prevents connecting the dots, because if the general public had it, we could connect the dots between this person and that person and this document. But when you have it in so many separate hands, it's very hard to get the bigger kind of story here, or even the whole truth here.
Yeah, it's almost like I do want to give Elon credit because I think the information's true and I think it's good. But imagine if you have the J6 footage and I can't search through it. I have to ask your lawyer to search through it. We want all the footage and just let us search through it how we want.
All right, we're going to go to Super Chats. If you haven't already, would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share this show with your friends, and become a member over at timcast.com. We're going to have a members-only uncensored show coming up for you. And, I'll tell you the reasons why we started doing the members segments on the website is because in 2020, revenue was bonkers. It was amazing. It was a crazy year for everybody in terms of politics. Everybody was locked up. All they could do was listen to podcasts. January's always are apocalyptic. Like, budgets are in the gutter, and we just, like, you don't make money on advertising. So I was like, that's not sustainable. We need to create something different. And obviously a lot of podcasts had like subscription-based stuff. So that's what we decided to launch. So I will just tell you guys right now, it is because of your memberships we make it through January and February. Then ads come in and supplement. But the majority of what runs this company is timcast.com memberships. That is the bulk. So we rely on your support if you believe in what we're doing, and we really do appreciate it. That's why we do those uncensored segments, and we're trying to make more. And I think what we're going to do for the space we're building is we're going to create like a semi-VIP private area where it's like, if you're a member of timcast.com and you show up, you can like come hang out in this, like, I'm thinking like maybe Ian's Crystal Cove will be that little special little spot. But then we're going to have a top floor VIP private social club, which will be probably more expensive, something like $5,000 per year, which is, I know, is a lot of money for a lot of people. Social clubs typically cost a lot more than that. But the idea is there's free drinks, free food, and networking for people who are working on stuff. And that's kind of the point. And then, that's the plan. We'll see how it goes. Maybe we can't even do it. Because the reality is, like, the reason we settled on that number is because you got to hire staff for it. You've got to have like the utilities paid. You've got to be able to do food and everything. And then we were going through it and we're like, it actually might not even be possible at that number. It might have to just be like a pay admission thing where it's like, if you come and you want to come in, you pay one time or something. But we'll figure it out. Let's read some super chats. What do we got? All right. James Orenthal Nguyen says, shout out to Supreme Leader Beanie. Met you at Gourmelt's last month and brought my kids to meet you at Freedom Plaza. Thanks for inspiring the next generation of righteous culture warriors. Respect. Good to hear from you, dude. Glad to see you at Freedom Plaza. That was a lot of fun. Glad to get to meet your kids who you talked about. So really appreciate it.
Gourmelt's is a pretty cool place too.
We got to do an event there. We were planning on doing an event with Gourmelt's. I don't want to leave Matt Strickland hanging. We're big fans. But we wanted to do a big event over at Gourmelt's in Virginia because this is a guy who not only is a place of amazing food, but they also defied the lockdowns and said it's unconstitutional. F off. So we got to figure something out, man.
And I'm talking to him about getting rid of the seed oils and doing all butter and lard. I've been having a big conversation with him about that, and he's like, I'm almost there. So, Gourmelt's awesome business that's being punished by the state of Virginia. They took away a big part of their licensing.
Stole all his booze.
Yeah, because they didn't comply with COVID, with the lockdowns, which is absolutely insane. So, check out Gourmelt's if you're in the Virginia area. Support them.
All right, Logan Culver says, Tim, you're not wearing your Whoop strap anymore. Are they worth the price, or what's up with them? Well, I'll give you my thoughts. At a certain point, I just didn't feel like I was getting anything from it. It tracks like my heart rate, but I got the Sleep 8 bed, which is like, it's so awesome. You guys know about the Sleep 8? Luke turned me on to it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It is a bed that has a little air conditioning, like it has a temperature control unit. You put distilled water in it, a little hydrogen peroxide, and it can warm or cool each side of the bed. So some days I'm feeling like I'm hot. It's like a hot day or whatever, and I want a cold bed. Some days it's freezing. You crank it all the way up. Oh, it's amazing. But it also tracks your heart rate variability and stuff like that. So I didn't really need the Whoop anymore. And also I couldn't find any consistency with what the Whoop was tracking. Like, I stopped. I started doing this routine. Nothing changed. I do this routine. Nothing changes. And ultimately I was just like, okay, literally nothing is changing on the Whoop day to day. Like when I don't exercise, when I do exercise, I'm like, I can't figure it out. So there's no point in wearing it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I have seen a correlation, and I'm always trying something new and something crazy, especially in the world of health. And it does track the reaction to it. But again, make sure you save your own data and you use anonymous emails with, there's many different things. Don't just give up your information to all these private companies.
I will add one thing. Whenever I would drink any amount of beer the next day, the recovery would be in the gutter.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I am never drinking alcohol again after this. Because before I was like, I don't really drink. I'll have something sometimes. Nah.
No, alcohol
I had a beer, woke up, and the Whoop was like, you're dying. And it was like, recovery was like 3%. And I was like, what? I had like one beer. And then I was like, maybe it's anomalous. So the next weekend, I was like, I had a Yingling at the casino. Next day, 3%, apocalyptically bad. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to try not drinking a beer, and recovery was stable. So I'm like, alcohol really does screw up your system.
Absolutely. It's so horrible for you, and especially your sleep. But if you're doing it at night, it's like the worst thing for your liver, your brain. It shrinks your brain.
Literally.
People don't understand this.
After my brain injury, one of the things that my neurosurgeon told me was like, it doesn't matter, because he's Canadian, like from Saskatchewan, so deep Canadian accent, and he's like, I don't care if the boys win or lose, you can't have a beer. It's like the one thing you can't do. Yeah.
It damages your brain. People don't understand this.
It's very, very bad,
I've been off of booze except for that one time on the show when we celebrated the purchase of Twitter by Elon Musk.
I remember that, yeah.
That was the only time. And then other than that, I don't remember. I don't remember any other time drinking. And I feel
I only
amazing.
had a teeny little bit. I took a little bit. Yeah. All right, let's see what we got here. Speechless by Michael Knowles. What a great name.
Yeah. Are they still doing that in the chat?
Yeah. Repeal the National Firearms Act of 1934. It is and always was a gross infringement on the only right that explicitly says it should not be curtailed under any circumstances. Funny how that works, isn't it?
Was that in response to machine guns being invented?
It was because of the gangs. But, the pistol brace ban is total BS. The ATF is not Congress. They can't just decide you have an illegal thing.
Yeah.
Oh, we've decided that your brace is illegal now. You can't do that. It's up to Congress to decide that.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens, man.
Well, they're just trying to register, people right now, and I think it's going to be ruled unconstitutional, just like the bump stock was recently as well. So,
but are they appealing that, the bump stock ban?
I don't know what's going to happen, but I just know it was repealed once. Yep. They're probably going to challenge it again, and it might go to the Supreme Court.
I think the bump stock ban was also unconstitutional. The government can't just decree things are illegal. No. Congress has to make a law. All right. Steven says, Hunter paid for everything with money his daddy made for him. That's right. Yeah. And he paid for them. One Pissed Off 50 says, $50,000 on rent, $4.99 on Parmesan cheese. Yikes. What a horrible life story.
Yeah.
He pulled Parmesan out of the carpet to smoke because he was desperate for crack. Damn, dude.
Nowhere to go but up.
Kolishnikov says, Tim, I know what's causing all the sudden heart-related deaths. Someone has procured a death note and is writing down all the names. That's the only explanation.
Yeah.
Someone got like a MailChimp email.
Wait, hold on. This is funny, actually.
Hacked thing.
For those that aren't familiar, MailChimp.
They hacked a database.
In Death Note, for those that aren't familiar with the manga or the show, a high school kid gets a notebook called a Death Note. If you write someone's name in it and a cause of death within physical possibility, it will happen.
Yeah.
If you write their name with no cause of death, they'll have a heart attack in 27 days or something like that?
Yeah, I don't know if the time is defined, but they will die. If you write it more times, they'll die sooner. Left like once.
I think it's 27 days or something like that.
Yeah.
its time is defined. So the main character starts killing criminals he sees on TV and in the news without a cause of death, so they all just randomly have heart attacks.
Yeah.
Because he wants people to see a pattern. Here's a funny thing. In the show, eventually the cops find a pattern. They're like, all these criminals are having heart attacks.
Yeah.
There must be something happening. In this day and age, right now, with all these people having heart attacks, they're like, climate change.
Right. It makes sense.
It's normal.
Yeah, checks
Totally
out.
normal. What are people saying? 27, is it 27 days? You have 6 minutes. Oh, 6 minutes, 40 seconds. Not 27 days? Is that what it was?
I remember it was pretty rapid. Like if you'd write someone's name in the book,
Yeah.
and it happened pretty quickly. And if you read it more times, it happened,
Right. That's what it was.
faster to instantaneously.
It was that you could write up to 27 days, I think. Maybe not 27, but it was like you could write the cause of death and extend the time frame out.
27 days.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
People are saying 60 seconds, 6 minutes. Yeah, but wasn't it there like he timed things out to where for people who know the show, where he'd be like, this guy will die on this date at this time, and he would like write it out weeks in advance or something like that. What did someone say? 6 minutes, 40 seconds. 6 minutes, 40. Well, there you go. 6 minutes, 40 seconds. We get it. There's a death note. Someone's got it.
Yeah.
All right, let's grab some more. Mike says, Tim, the Dems are going after Biden so they can justify barring Trump from running in 2024. Good point.
It's possible.
They go for the documents. They say you got to forfeit. Oh, but that means Trump too? See, we're being fair.
Yeah, it's possible.
1 and 20 million says, I like this guy. He's based. Ian, keep rolling 20s. Buy Bitcoin.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, what's Bitcoin up to now?
It just jumped.
Is it popping up?
Yeah.
It's jumping a
Over
lot.
21K. It is
21?
21.05.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
From being down to like 16.
Bitcoin.
Yeah, I believe in BTC.
Yeah.
This person's name is Clint Oris. He says, I tried... what are you guys laughing about? What are you guys laughing about?
We'll tell you after the show.
Oh, okay.
It's probably a mistake.
Mr. Oris, it's probably a mistake, says, I tried searching Joe Biden, Hunter Biden on Google News tab, and I got a single page of results. And did it say, the results are changing rapidly? Check back later. Is the source reputable? That's how they censor news, man.
They will not need to rewrite history. They're rewriting it as we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Agamemnon's Jim Bag says, this is a motion to have Luke cast during Davos.
I am reporting on the whole Davos thing and having a team of people look at everything that they're doing and covering it on my YouTube channel. We Are Changed.
How's it been?
They just started. Today was the opening ceremony, and they were just saying, climate emergency, climate emergency, climate emergency. Give us all your power and money now. And that's a short summary of everything that was
they were
happening
like,
there.
too much carbon dioxide. I was like, well, we can pull it out and turn it into graphene. They're like, I mean, too much methane. I was like, okay, we can turn the methane into carbon dioxide.
Cows are
turn
the
that into
problem.
graphene.
And then here's celebrity with endorsed, saying.
And they're vegans. All right. Where were you? Cain Abel says, it won't be a pill, it will be a robot. The person in charge will say, you can live forever, but you won't. Your soul will not be there. You will be a slave like the Necron.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. You know, they've already recreated you on Facebook AI. You hear the story about how they can take all your posts and messages and everything about you and then create an AI chatbot based on you?
Yep. All they need is
They
data.
can do that when you're alive.
Yeah. They do.
Don't be surprised if one day a robot knocks on your door and you open the door, it's you. And you're like, what? And it's like, I'm you. And then it stabs you. And you're like, ah! Then it replaces you.
I think all of the networks are combining data. Like all our phones are recording all our words. And so what'll happen is either a new corporate governance will come in with the new world order, and we'll be like, oh no. And then they will mandate all the tech companies to compile the data for them to create the Uber consciousness. Otherwise, we can make a decentralized authority that would not enforce those kind of things on people. That's my goal.
And real quick, the CCP has more data on us than we have on them.
Yeah.
So that's a scary thought.
It's a big problem. Airbnb, things like that, they turn over people's data to the CCP to operate in China. But whereas TikTok, like that's something severely lacking. We need to take control of TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, I think all of them, though.
Seize TikTok. All right. Randy F. says, 11 years ago, I got diagnosed with autoimmune disease, Wegener's GPA, lost my kidneys. Last month, I learned there is now a pill to treat and reverse. Wow. we got to get Bocus some stem cells. What's going on with it?
So we're just talking about it. And so I have we're taking him to New York, and we're going to do stem cell therapy. Yeah, 25th, he's a candidate. So he's going to have blood drawn on the 25th. Then he's going to have stem cells put back into him on the 27th. And then we'll keep you informed on the
But I have to imagine he needs more than one treatment.
Yeah, I think there's 3 over the course of 6 months. I don't know. We'll find out. It's a multi-treatment, though, as far as I know.
I'm worried waiting that long. He's getting thinner and thinner.
You know, so the other route is just wait until he dies. So I'm into it.
Yeah,
better than nothing.
He's getting hormones that stimulate red blood cells. And he's getting IV electrolyte therapy, but it's been brutal because he's like, sometimes he won't eat. And like we came back and he didn't eat all day, and we have to like try and make it. So I'm putting catnip in his food, and then he'll eat it, which is good. And then he just drinks water nonstop.
Do you notice with cats where like they won't eat, and then you like crouch down next to them and pet them, and then they just start eating? Like if it's a mood thing, like if they get into a mood, they'll just start eating.
Oh man, I don't know about all that. All I know is you put some cat drugs in his food and he eats it. Yeah, like humans are the same way, Cancer patients smoke some pot and they start eating, Mm-hmm. That's why we need medical advancements.
Medical marijuana. I don't know if that's what you were going to say. That's what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, I just mean like general advancements. It's like not just marijuana. There's a bunch of stuff like the guy's kidney pills.
Yeah, true.
Stem cells, man. People were saying that stem cells was like taken from babies, and it's like turns out they can get it from you.
Yes, they're going to get Bucko's own stem cells. All that's coming from his own fat and blood.
From his own body, and then they replicate it and then put it right back in. And then it's crazy. It goes to where the damage is and starts repairing it. That's crazy, man. But I'm concerned that if his kidneys are totally shut down and dead, it won't do anything.
Yeah.
The kidneys have to be like still there.
But they are. They let me know due to his test results that he's a viable candidate because his kidneys are still at like stage 3 renal failure. It hasn't quite entered stage 4 renal failure.
And we got him on the kidney food and the medicine, so hopefully it's like stabilizing. Yeah. Low phosphorus or something. All right, let's grab some more super chats. All right. Josh V says, saw an article or something a couple weeks back that said to the effect, we are a few years away from all encryption being obsolete with quantum computing advancements at the current pace.
Yep, I've been talking about that for a few years now.
But then we'll have quantum encryption.
Hopefully.
Not hopefully.
The people who develop it might keep it for themselves, right? They might not release it to the public, or they might just privatize it.
Could you imagine quantum encryption? The keys are changing in real time in superposition.
Yeah, they have things called time crystals, where the crystal is in motion, and it's the actual motion of the crystal itself that's the shape of it, is the motion of it. So they're using that for encryption tactics.
Wow. C2 Gaming says media matters are the perfect example of professional bigoteering. Look at the definition. It needs to be used more frequently. Okay. Yeah, we want to look up bigoteering.
Bigoteering.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
All right. S.A. Federale says, 2024, hear me out. Both go to prison. Bump stock Donnie gets... I'm not reading that. Trial by combat. Winner gets to run. Loser stays in the yard forever. Also, if you thought Enigma encryption was good, wait until you hear about WEP. Yeah.
Bump stock Donnie. I remember
Bump stock
saying
Donnie.
that on the after show.
Bump stock
couple days ago.
Donnie. Yeah. Wes Eisman says, Tim, did you do a dark slide this weekend while skateboarding? You know why I would never do a dark slide? It ruins your grip.
What's that?
It's when you flip the board over, you like kick flip or heel flip, and then slide upside down on the board.
Oh.
And it just mutilates the top of your board.
Yeah.
So like, it's a cool trick for like the end of your board's life to get on film and then not do again.
Yeah.
I don't know. No dark slides for me. No, I did a Nollie Gazelle second try. Real smooth, too.
Sounds like we need to develop a material that'll allow it to slide, but also maintain grip.
Yeah, there's also, they have this like foam rubber grip, which like doesn't destroy your shoes, and it works. I'm not a big fan of though. I like my sandpaper.
Yeah.
I think it works. Pinochet's helicopter tour says World War II German concentration camps used IBM punch cards.
Yep,
That's
true.
Yeah.
Now imagine if everyone had cell phones back then.
Yeah.
True.
Or in China. Or in Russia.
Just Jimmy says, shout out to Raymond. Chat isn't the same without you. Tim, load up some local honey, D3, and a shot of the good stuff. Great guest. Heart the Rippaverse shirt.
Oh, Priest. Yeah, I'm a big... When I got red pilled, right when the pandemic started, the summer of love, I started finding Comic Dave Smith, Eric July. Shout out to them, man. The Libertarian Party is for real. On Timcast, there is a great article on Reno Reset, the best article that was written. I forget who did. It was Chris wrote the article, I believe. And the Libertarian Party is for real. Shout out to the Mises Caucus. I'm a fan.
Yeah, the Mises guys are great. We got to have Dave on soon. He's doing a show out in Maryland, I think on the 27th?
Oh, man, Dave, come through.
I think we're going to go there.
Awesome.
But we're trying to figure out a date Dave can come back.
Excellent.
So we just got to figure it out because we're booked up solid. So we're like, let's see what we can do. But I think we'll be at Dave's show. That's
Dave's
the plan,
great.
at least.
Dave can be funny, but he can also like give you the most based red pilling of information about the Saudis. I mean, he's
War.
just so great. He knows
Yeah.
so much stuff.
Yeah, it'll be cool though. So you want to look up actually when his show is at?
Oh
Sure.
yeah, what is this, Dave Smith?
Dave Smith's show, which is his website. Because I think we'll all be there. That'll be really cool. Everyone should show up. We'll sell out the place. Everyone will laugh, and we'll get hot dogs or something.
I love it.
Yeah, you did it would be a live show, right? With people there? Or,
Well, Dave's doing stand up.
oh, okay.
When is
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, I don't know. Did you see it in Maryland? Did you find it?
Coming up.
Well, he's looking at
27th, I think. Is it there? No. What's going on? Huh?
Perryville, Maryland.
Oh, there it is. When's the date?
January 28th.
28. I was out by a day. Cool.
January 28th, Saturday.
Be there. Be square. We'll be there.
That sounds cool.
Well, the plan is Saturday, right?
Yeah.
The plan's to be there. I got nothing else going on, right? All right, we'll grab some more super chats. All right, Winston Alexander says, Chat GPT is woke. I asked, where are the consenting adult females attracted to older, balding, overweight men? Its answer, it is not appropriate to make derogatory or objectifying statements.
Well, no, Libs of TikTok tweeted earlier today, I don't know if you saw it, she asked it something positive about gender-affirming care, and it answered. Then she wanted something like a tweet, like against it, and it said,
No.
I can't do it.
Yep.
Now, that is scary considering how powerful AI is going to be.
Yep.
Woo!
Yeah.
And where it's getting its data sets from.
Yeah.
Yeah, that needs to be open
And then
source.
Sheila Lee, I don't know if you saw this, Sheila Lee from Texas did a hate bill today. Well, it's not going to go anywhere
Yeah.
because nobody's going to sign it. But that mentality
Banning-
combined with AI,
Was that the bill about banning white supremacy?
yes, scary stuff. Even though it's not going anywhere.
But people need to understand white supremacy by them is not,
Oh,
white supremacy. It's like anything in support of America.
I'm a white supremacist to them.
Exactly.
So,
So saying stuff like you should work hard, that's hate speech.
Yep. Yeah.
And the bill said that if you say something on a platform that another person can see and then they act violently, you conspired to commit hate crime.
that's stochastic terrorism, right? That's
I guess.
And you know what they're going after? I think the most powerful thing, like online, other than meeting people in person, are the memes.
Mm-hmm.
They're going after the memes. I think I had a guy on my channel, C3P meme. Excellent. He's the guy who did. I don't know if you saw the Sanford and Son memes, where he put Trump's face on Red Fox, and everybody. It doesn't matter what your politics are, they all love it. I bet you they would go after like simple memes like that.
All right, here's an important one. Clint Torres says, Tim, which is healthier, heavy cream or sugar-free organic coconut milk? I know heavy cream is far more tasty, which screams less healthy. I actually think both are very, very good. Like no sugar-added organic coconut milk is like one of the healthiest things ever. It is fatty, and coconut oil is really, really good for you. Heavy cream probably is worse for you, but I don't think it's that much worse for you. I don't know. What do you think, Ian?
I would think that the coconut milk would be the best, but I do think they're both really good. There's a lot of somatic cells in dairy, which are like, I don't know, are they cancer? They're not cancer cells, but they're just
cancer
like,
causing. But on top of that, coconut oil will be MCT oil too, which
Right.
is medium
Well,
chain triglycerides,
yes,
which means that
and-
your brain can work faster on them, basically.
And I think they used to use coconut water as saline.
yeah, that's true.
Like when people were bleeding
That's
out in the
true.
war, they take a coconut and they would plug it in because it could
Yeah.
keep your blood pressure up.
Correct.
So
a somatic cell, for the record, is any cell of the body except for sperm and egg cells. But for some reason, the dairy industry is allowed to have a certain number of somatic cells found in milk and stuff.
all food have that then?
Yeah, it's kind of vague, but what I've heard is that it's
Wouldn't
actually
plants have that too?
the pus is like, they'll be like, oh, somatic cells, they're talking about how much pus
but
they
dude,
have
dude,
in their
come
milk.
on. Come on. Get organic farm fresh heavy cream.
Yeah, because a lot of it's the antibiotics.
Yeah,
from the
true that.
non-organic stuff.
Exactly.
Yo, we go to Mom's Organic and we get this glass bottle organic cream, and the taste is just incredible.
It's like when you see those cows hooked up to machines, they get infections on their udders, and then you're drinking the infected. Like that's the stuff to stay away from.
Yeah, but so just go for the organic stuff. But when I went to the dairy farms in California, the cows are free range. They choose to get milked. The cows walk to the machine milks them, and then they're happy and they walk out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if the milk builds up and they can't get it out, it hurts them.
Right.
So they walk in the machine, they're like, get it, and then the machine. Yeah, 10 to 12 gallons of milk per day. That's what I'm told. That's crazy. All right, everybody. If you haven't already, would you kindly smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends, and become a member at timcast.com, because we do rely on your memberships to keep the ship a-sailing, especially in January, because January is like adpocalypse month. There's no budgets in, contracts paid out last month, so like very little revenue comes in through ads. But because of all of you who are members, we don't got much to worry about. So that really does mean a lot to us. So serious thank you all to the members. We're going to have that members only show coming up for you in about an hour. So don't miss it. You can follow the show at Timcast IRL. You can follow me at Timcast. Osiris, do you want to shout anything out?
Oh, yes. Well, thanks a lot for having me. First of all, you guys are class acts. Shout out to Cassandra McDonald. Great time. Follow me anywhere, Twitter, YouTube. The website is Middle Maga. And I want to put a human face, humanize the MAGA movement. I really think it's the most beautiful movement of my political lifetime. And then the Mises Caucus and the Libertarian Party is second. So if you agree, if you're interested, we got people of all different perspectives. I have people on the populist left come on. So holler at me.
What was the website again?
Middlemaga.com.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on. That was great. Really appreciate your voice on here. My website is lukeuncensored.com. It is my members area. I did a video today on all the things that I can't say here, specifically about Pfizer and the 4 Pfizer celebrities, one of which blocked me. You want to know which one blocked me? Check out the video that I did today on lukeuncensored.com. Also, a lot of people are asking when I'm going to be leaving. I'm going to be leaving this week, so I'll miss you guys.
No, that's fine. We got a way better replacement. It's no big deal.
Only going up from here.
It's the cat.
You guys can find me anywhere on the internet at Ian Crossland. Happy to be here. And also, Cyrus, I wanted to shout out your Twitter page, Stuck in the Mid. It's Stuck, N, the letter N, DAMID. If anyone wants to follow you on Twitter. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, thank you. Nice meeting you.
Hell yeah. What's going on?
And I am at Serge Dupria or Serge.com. My name's Serge Dupria. I'm Serge.com everywhere on the internet. It's been a really good show. Pleasure meeting you. And I am really going to be sad to see Luke go.
Damn right. Thank you.
All right,
At least someone here is.
We will see you all over at timcast.com for the members only show in about 1 hour. Thanks for hanging out.